The fro is in full effect.
The fro is in full effect.
It's in full effect.
Okay, let's go.
Don't judge my Chuck E. Cheese sticker here. Okay.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with that.
All I can think about are those animatron things going like this and gross carpets.
How many kids did those freak out?
Especially where you just strap your kid to the wall and they're in the little basket seat just revolving on the wall.
Well, thanks.
Doesn't that sound like it's pretty messed up?
I mean...
Then my kid last night, I was telling him that. That's weird we're talking about that right now.
That's all right.
Because it flipped. Literally, he was like, what if it just flipped and you never saw your kid again? I was like, bro, that is the next terrible movie. Don't give anybody ideas.
Final Destination Chuck E. Cheese edition.
No, that's Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, of course.
It's called Baby Hostel.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah, let's not put that on the podcast. I do have 5 children.
Oh, don't worry. That's the clip.
Intro.
Yeah, that's the clip that goes for the intro.
I mean, that's the best clip probably of all day. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, right.
Good.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Dirt Drive Podcast, guys. Yeah. So we're, as Tim likes to say, we're spinning the wheel of Dirt Nerds again today. It's just me and PJ, but we have 2 lovely ladies here with us today.
Hello.
And we're just going to let them introduce themselves because their Instagram handles are very close to each other, and I can't keep them straight.
They are a bit confusing.
Yeah, that's all right. But if you ladies would like to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Go ahead, sister.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
All right. She's so kind and generous to me. I'm Anastasia. I am Grenadier Trial Girl on my Instagram handle. And also my sister and I, she's the senior advisor. I'm the founder of Women's Ineos Grenadier Club.
Awesome.
Thank you, Anastasia. My name is Candace Weiler, and I am at Grenadier Field Girl. And yes, as she said, she introduced me, senior advisor, WIGC, and we're excited to talk more about off-roading and all the cool events that we have coming up.
Yeah.
No, but we're also here at Dirt Nerds or Dirt Motors or Dirt Drive. I don't know which one. It's like now that we have all the...
There's a lot of
dirt.
There's just a lot of dirt, and it's fine. It's all the same.
That's like literally the best. It is appropriate because I've, just growing up, because I'm still growing, not this way. But essentially, I always want to have gray hair and my hands in the dirt. So being here is kind of like really cool. I'm a gardener. So that's the reason why. But now that I have my Grenadier, I did bring herbs, but now I get to do that in my car. I know. I brought her eggs, and now she's like, "Oh, I want herbs too."
I turned around and I was like, the farmer's market has arrived. Yes.
Right. But we get to be in the dirt as well in these really rad cars, which is so awesome. Very excited about that.
Yeah, because the Grenadiers are relatively new to the scene, and I know you guys have kind of just recently really gotten into it too. So that's kind of an interesting perspective to have, is not only just new to the industry and all that, but new vehicles, going out doing these massive events. Like you guys just got back from Moab.
Yes.
I know you got a bunch of other stuff lined up. So kind of give us the spiel. How did you guys get into it? What's it like being able to kind of do it with family too? Because that's... A lot of us have, my siblings are so much younger than me that they're just now graduating college. So they're just coming into the real world now.
Right.
But obviously you guys, you're doing this together. Obviously your family's here. So what's that like, being able to do that and start obviously this company with your sister, and how did you guys get into that?
Wow. Well, that is a fully loaded question.
Where do we begin?
No pressure.
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, my sister and I, we really grew up in the country. So we're not too far away from here in Prince William County. We still have, our family home out there. And we grew up on dirt bikes, four-wheelers. We always had a Land Cruiser, Range Rovers.
Nice.
As things progressed and, you do life, sometimes as women, you become more conventional in the sense where you get married, you have children, you have jobs. But, my sister and I, something that we've always had in common is we love socializing and being around people, and bringing we have the ability to connect.
Yep.
Like we really do, because we were so blessed to have a background of a lot of culture. My mother is Cajun from Louisiana. My father is Korean. And we grew up in a very multicultural, traveled all around the world, really blessed situation. And I think that through those experiences, we kind of can get really down and dirty and nasty, you know, but we can also be super sophisticated, elegant, and it's a time and a place.
Sure.
And, you know, as far as off-roading goes, I would say that my sister is definitely beginning. I'm still beginning, but I am balls to the wall. Yeah. Like I just am a risk taker, and it's like, oh, this car is so cool, and yes, it's expensive, but how can I totally do this and try not to damage it? And my sister's like, don't damage the car.
You're not the only one. There's plenty of people that we've met over the years where they come out with like the temp tags on the car, and they're like, I don't want any scratches. Like, cool, you should turn around then.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
This is not the trail for you today.
Right. Well, and I'm not going to lie. When we first got the Grenadiers last year, it's been about a year now that we've had them. I had no intention. I didn't even realize that there was this whole world of off-roading, with Grenadiers. I mean, of course, Jeeps, I had friends, they were, across the mountains, and, we would go mudding and all that fun stuff. But again, never in my wildest dreams. I thought that Miss Grenadier here is going to be my street princess, and that's all I planned. I just wanted her to look good, and I guess what is it? Mall crawler, Costco crawler. I'm taking pictures at Costco with the Grenadier. No, but it was just awesome. And then my sister, they invited us one day to go off-roading with the Nova Jeepers.
Oh, nice.
So we love the Nova Jeepers. Shout out, guys.
And
you guys are the best.
I mean, it was amazing. And they just, welcomed us with open arms. Phenomenal group of people. We had so much fun. I was a little nervous, and, we did some things, and it just kind of grows on you.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you're totally addicted, and all you can think about is wanting to go off-roading. Like,
when am I going out next?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, can I just hit that curb, or can we just be in traffic for a little bit so I can go off the median and,
Oh, yeah.
The best part is when you're off trail, back in like the normalcy of what I don't really prefer, but you're back into a regular road and you see a pothole and you're like, oh, I'm going to avoid that pothole. And I'm like, why the F are you avoiding a pothole now? You were just like literally rock crawling, and one wheel is up in the air not making contact, and you're worried about a pothole. So
there's a big difference between 5 miles an hour and 78 miles an hour on the highway.
That is very true.
I agree. Especially when you live, the DMV area.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why Moab was so awesome. I mean, sticking to rocks, and then only seeing sky and only having your nose about to like totally go into the rock. That was really awesome.
Trevor doesn't know anything about that.
Oh, man. Oh, that was a good one. But those rocks are like sandpaper. It's kind of wild out there. You always hear people talk about it, but until you experience it for yourself, how much grip you have out in Mo compared to out here.
Yes.
Like the off-roading is completely different from coast to coast, and the people who haven't done both, there's always going to be the guys like, oh, I prefer West Coast, I prefer East Coast, but they're so vastly different. I prefer the East Coast stuff. It's a little more technical. Like, you got to deal with wet rocks, going through trees, mud, all that stuff. Like, out there is gorgeous. Like, I will always
you're always like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Like, even the drive out there through Eisenhower and the Vale Pass, and we were just like, oh my gosh, whoa. It was just so stunning, and the scenery is incredible. But I like all of it.
Oh, yeah.
So East Coast, West Coast, but you really are correct.
Oh, yeah, it's not a good or bad thing. It's just, they're different.
And there's a lot of technique,
totally different elements, too.
Oh, yeah.
For this area, you're dealing with like grit. You're dealing with slippery everything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, recently...
Yeah, our rocks out here, even when they're dry, you slip on.
I know.
Like, it's wild.
Well, it's because
but you go
of
out
the
there
moss
to take
factor
pictures, and you're walking up the side of a mountain in your tennis shoes, and you're like, I don't know how I'm doing this right now, but I'm doing it.
Exactly. And over here, even, weather-wise, you can be on the same mountain, and it is completely different on one face of the mountain than the other. I mean, I did an ice skating rink, going down, and I was like, oh, I'll be fine. I'll just go by myself. And they're like, never wheel alone. And thank goodness I don't wheel alone. It really was a great learning point, because that was sketchy.
Yep.
I mean, and the car is so heavy itself. It doesn't matter how you drive it sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's whether or not you're like, okay, I'm just going to go with this and just drive into it and just hope for the best.
Yeah, it was kind of wild when we first were working on Adrian's, which is parked out. That's the blue one parked
Right.
outside.
Yeah.
We were just like, out of curiosity, we wonder what these things weigh curb weight, because the new JL 4-doors are like 5,600 pounds from the factory, which is about 600 to 700 pounds more than the JKs were.
Right.
We went and looked up the Grenadiers. They're 7,000 pounds curb weight, and you're just like, why? Why so heavy? And then you're right, when you start going down a trail and all of a sudden you're in a big, heavy vehicle, sometimes you just kind of just let it happen.
Right.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah. Oh,
That
yeah.
wheel, Jesus.
So-
I actually think the curb weight is lower than that, but all the stuff that they do to it
Yeah.
really makes it go up. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
they're like at 58 something.
Yeah, there's a few different, like, like with
Exactly.
most cars, but
Right.
yeah, the
All the
heaviest
different
of them,
versions.
they're coming out at 7,000,
It's
which is
that's nuts.
Yeah.
wild.
And it's
the same
sad
size
too,
as my
because you
pickup
can't
truck.
even. I have a motorhome and I can't even flat tow it because obviously it doesn't roll.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not going to go under the car and undo the neutral and then take my drive shaft out and then store it in my car.
not?
Why not? That would be so
Yeah.
easy.
It's so easy.
It's so easy. And then after that, it was kind of like, wow, braking, towing, because, I tow a lot of stuff. I have a little farmette. So, we've pulled pigs in it. We have a motorcycle trailer because I also, my husband builds choppers. So we do a lot of.
You gotta stop doing stuff.
Oh, really? You should see my list. I can't
exhausting.
wait
I was
to
gonna
do
say,
more.
I can't wait to see the checklist on the side of the fridge, and it's just like, nope, and just fold another tab and another tab and another tab.
And the worst part is I just got like an XT250 Yamaha, and I am like I told my husband, I said, can I just take this on the highway so we can go to at least Winchester, to one of my favorite little spots like Bonnie's out there? And he was like, if you want to be like this on Route 7. And I was like, well, it goes 55 and people can just go around me. People are going to get really annoyed and perturbed
yeah.
with you. And I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll have to up that one day or another. But, that's kind of what we love to do. My kids have go-karts, they have little mini bikes, and I'm an outdoors girl, so anything dangerous and outdoorsy, calculated risk, yes, I
Yep.
get it.
Sure, yeah, we'll go with that.
But why not push? Why not push the boundary of what you can do? Especially, I know I'm a woman, and I know I probably got some free stuff because, hey, we're women, and we really do have a presence.
But I think
I'm not going to disregard that because, sometimes it's attractive to see a woman pushing herself doing hard stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool. And to me, other women doing that too
Yep.
is even awesomer.
Yeah.
So that's why we came up with the club. And
I think it's just how you market yourself too, though.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can definitely, you can lean into the whole.
There's confidence in it, though.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's like I think
Yes.
that's the big part of it, because we see plenty of people try and break into social media and do all that stuff, and you can always kind of tell the difference between they're out here trying to legitimately do it and off-road and modify their stuff and do a lot of it themselves,
Yes.
versus the people who are just like, I look pretty.
Right.
And we
Chasing
see it
likes.
with, and we see it with guys too. Like
Yeah.
it's not gender specific by any means. I mean, we see plenty of videos that pop up where you're just like, oh yeah, I'm a man working on my own car, and you're like, dude, what are you doing with an adjustable wrench down on your differential? Like, you're not doing anything down there. Also, why are you laying on the asphalt shirtless? Like, are you trying to burn yourself? Like, you're just
Yeah.
being a dumbass.
Right.
And so we're sitting in here like, you're an idiot. Oh, here's a pretty girl. Oh, nah, she doesn't actually. Oh, now there's the real off-roaders. Like,
Yeah.
oh, your
And
rig is
you
snapped
can
in
learn
half.
though, but you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
learn. So like I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that either one of us, but just to speak for myself, I'm not super fluent in my car yet. I've had it for a year.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. I want to take pictures of everything so that I know where stuff is and then how to wrench on it. And I'm slowly gaining those skills. But, having had other cars in my life, I had NV 3500, big old box van.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Those are
I've
still
had the
around.
Land Cruisers. I had a Touareg, which was BS car.
That's a Volkswagen,
but,
so.
Yeah. But with this car, I'm very motivated to work on it myself because it's perfunctory and it's simple. So if I can really understand how it works, I am just upping my chances of being more successful.
Yeah. Yep.
And sometimes when you're passionate about something, as you know, you're going to learn more about it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that doesn't mean that we haven't had help. I mean, there's a lot of people in our community, whether or not it's like friends, like even Britt or, you know, Rob or Mike Reed or any of those guys supporting us. And then at home, her husband and my husband, you know, they know how to wrench on cars and motorcycles and helicopters.
Yeah, I mean, he was,
That's a nice little random
aircraft
one.
mechanic,
Cars,
you know, in
motorcycles,
the
helicopters,
Marine
whatever.
Corps, you know, no big deal. Like, he just worked on the Presidential Helicopter Squadron. It's all good, right?
You have to have like
Just a normal actor,
humility,
dude.
Right.
You know, that humility comes into play because when you're willing to learn, instead of be like, oh, you know, I'm not going to let anybody know I don't know half the stuff that they know about this car yet.
They
I read
always
the
know.
forum
They
and I'm
always
like,
know.
your forum structure, I get it. It's like more male brained and it's really hard to find anything in there by the search button.
You
But once you like,
mansplaining?
I know. Like,
To a man?
right. And then you start reading it, and there's like 572 replies.
Yeah.
And then you finally get that needle in the haystack, and you're like, there's my answer. So, you know, it takes patience, it takes time. It's learning also an industry that we're foreign to. You know, the automotive industry was more to us about what car we had and, you know, making sure that we took care of our cars and maintained them and that they transported us places and our families safely, you know? But now it's like, what badass stuff can we get into and have fun and just like go nuts?
Well, and I think the automotive industry as a whole has kind of started leaning that way too, where just because of COVID and, you know, people could only do stuff outside, it really pushed a lot of new people into the industry. And the automotive industry took notice. I mean, we've been to SEMA several times, and every other aspect of automotive, whether it's just normal cars, drag cars, race cars, whatever, you know, they see 5 to 10% every year increase just naturally.
Right.
And the last 4 to 5 years, I think they said, off-road has been at 80 to 100% year over year. And it's just because when the manufacturers start to get behind it, that's when things really just start to take off. So obviously Jeep's always been there, Toyota's been there in some capacity, but now you're starting to see Honda, Ford, like all these guys come out and go, we have an overland model for that.
Yep.
We have an off-road model for that.
Right.
Like,
They want a piece of the pie.
yeah,
There's so much to choose from,
you've
too.
got CRVs coming with Falcon Wild Peaks on
Go
them from
CRV.
factory.
I
And you're
love
like,
CRVs.
You're like, when did we start lifting CRV? I mean, we'll do it. Like, we've lifted minivans here. We've lifted all kinds of stuff. But you just look
Porsche
at
Cayennes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just wild to kind of see the growth there. And not just from a vehicle standpoint, but with new people coming in and getting to experience that. And we've always thought, like, off-road community as a whole for the most part, because there's
They're
always going to be
awesome.
assholes, but most
like,
of them are
I
good
won't even-
people.
Let me
that
tell you,
just-
it's been all positive experiences.
It has been.
And, you know, I will say, you know, the one thing, like my sister said earlier, you know, she's all about balls to the walls. And that's great. I can be very adventurous, you know, and I've had my adventures, but I like to get the lay of the land.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
I like to just kind of have a plan. Kind of know what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
Because even when we were in Moab, you know, sure, could we have taken it a little further? Absolutely. But we got to drive 30 hours back here. We both have jobs that we need to get to.
Correct.
And, you know, it's just, you know, until we get to that point where, you know, we're more comfortable, we have more experience, more training, or at least
more
for
money to just
even
break stuff
That's
and
really what it
replace
comes down to.
and
That's what it
that
really
too.
comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, like, I have to sit there and think, do I do my quarterly Botox or do I add this really
Oh
new
my
piece
gosh.
of kit that I want? You know what I mean? All my self-care has gone
Yeah.
out the window
But that's
because
we had to have the same
I'm having so
conversation.
much fun.
Yeah.
But which
Yeah.
is so funny because like I'm the, you know, she's older than me, believe it or not, and I'm the one with all the wrinkles. But you know, it's true. I'm very frugal. I'm a school teacher, so I have an awesome car, but I am a school teacher. My budget's very small. I reuse, reduce, and recycle everything. And at the end of the day, you know, if I have more beans for dinner and I got a really cool accessory,
all those herbs.
that's why I grow my own food.
But that's the thing, man. It's sometimes being on a limited budget really pushes the ingenuity of what you have to do
to be
with
creative.
your vehicle.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you find ways to get it done.
Right.
You know, whether it just means more time to get it done, or if you just kind of figure out a fancy way to get around whatever problem you're dealing with.
And there's so much now in the market.
Oh, yeah.
Especially coming out for Grenadiers. And because it's a more expensive car, everything is expensive along with it. Like, my husband has a Jeep, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you are getting the same exact thing with the same width
for
metal
half the cost.
for like not even, and that can be frustrating sometimes, but at the, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I think things will start to settle in a little bit more after they're only a year and a half old, essentially.
Well, and it's also, you get the companies that, like, we dealt with it with the Broncos too, where you have certain companies that just want to be first, right? And so they
not
push
worried
stuff
about
out the
the
door because they're like, we can capitalize on being the only one to have something, so we can charge whatever we want for it. And then slowly, as other companies come out, the prices come down, the quality gets better.
Quality's got to get better.
It's been amazing to see how much aftermarket stuff has come for these things, because normally when you get a new vehicle, it's years and years and years of R&D, and I think because of how much off-roading has exploded, you get the people who go, this is going to be the next big one.
Correct.
We need to get in on it. So they're pushing like crazy to get stuff. Like when Adrian came by and he's like, yep, I got a bumper for this and a winch. And we're like, the car's been out for like a year.
I know.
Like, what are you
that's
talking
the crazy
about?
thing.
He's like,
you just have to...
No cut, no nothing, just bolt on. We're like, holy shit.
And you just have to call too.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the things that we did before we went to Moab was because I'm learning, because I want to have some accessories, because I wanted to be able to be more capable on the road. I even have like a whole lift kit that I haven't put in because I really, number one, I heard a lot of issues with the installation, but more so I wanted to see what the car was like first before I did anything. And then on top of that, well, if I want to change something, that's going to throw the entire car off.
Oh, yeah.
So be prepared to be able to fix every, consequence of that action thereafter to remedy it and correct it. But, you were talking about the relationships in the off-roading world and SEMA, and then quality, and I'm thinking Metal Cloak. And we've had some insane companies talk to us about outfitting our rigs. I mean, being really supportive with that, whether or not it was a huge discount or like Warren Wenches even sponsored.
That's awesome.
And I haven't even got the Warren Wench because I can't decide on what setup I want. And then obviously what kind of bumper is going to have to go along with that. But SEMA, for example, Sarah, she is the chair of the women's business network out there.
Yep.
And I'm meeting with her next week.
That's awesome.
And then I'm meeting with Storyteller Overland, the president and the CEO, Christina Linton. She was in Moab as well, but she like Evictus, Evader. She has all of these companies, and they do the awesome Sprinter vans and things like that. Of course, out Moab, Owl was there. And we met so many manufacturers.
And those, and
they want to put their stuff on these rigs.
Good.
And that's great. But at the same time, you realize too, what we were just talking about earlier, they're going to have to re-engineer because sometimes, since it's so brand new, this works, this doesn't work. And that's why sometimes I am a little patient with doing things like that.
Well, and I think it's, there's a lot of value. Get to know your rig. Feel it, be one with it. I know that sounds so cheesy, but it's true.
It's true.
We tell that to people all the time.
You need to really know what's going on, because as soon as you start modifying your rig, you need to be able to, like,
car at that point.
It is. The change, the sound, the drivability, all of that, is influence. There's factors, and like she said, even consequences.
Oh yeah.
You don't know. Like, and I even said, I'm not going to do a lift because I want to just wait. I want to wait. It's perfectly fine. Ever since I switched out, I had the OEM side steps. I put the Agile rock sliders on. It gave me more clearance.
I want to do all the trails with the lift that they said I couldn't do yet. So like I was at AOAA and he was like, no, you can't do that. And I was like, well, I want to do that. How do I do that? And he was like, well, you're going to need a couple more inches and then some bigger tires.
And he's trying to prevent you from getting stuck or broken.
Exactly.
And that's really the biggest thing. One of the things we've always harped on with our customers is if you're new to it, don't jump right in to lifting your car, because one, a lot of these vehicles are very capable from factory. Like, you may hit some rocks, you may, rub your frame rail, something like that, but it doesn't mean you're not going to get over the obstacle. But a lot of people, half the fun for us is watching a vehicle get more capable. And the only way you realize that is
in general.
you take it step by step. Take it out stock, see how well it does. And just like you guys, you go out to Moab, these are all stock vehicle, and you're like, damn, these things did great.
Right, and then
And now all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to add 3 more
Fully
inches,
capable.
bigger tires, all this stuff.
Right.
And then you go back out and you go, this is where I rubbed last time. And you drive right over it and you're like,
Celebrate.
oh yeah. It's one of the craziest feelings to try and describe to someone who's never had, because so many people buy these vehicles and literally drive to an off-road shop to have a lift put on, and they just don't get it. They're like, oh yeah, my Jeep's great now. It's like, well, no, it was great before. You've just made it more capable and better, but you can't see the level of capability here.
But we all know, like, most of your skill comes from hours of being off-road. So, like,
your skill comes from your screw-ups.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
You learn how to take better lines. And so, like, we've got so many drivers right now that they jumped right into 3.5 inches lift, 37s, all this stuff.
And then they drive with ego.
Well, and because the first trail they hit, they drive over everything.
Yeah.
They don't even have to try.
This is too easy.
Yeah, and then they
Of course it is.
We've had so many people on our lines where we go, okay, you want to do some stuff? And they're like, oh, is your rig going to make it? It's like, don't worry about me, dude. Like, one, I don't give a shit about this thing, so whatever.
It's my play car.
But trust me, we're going to be just fine. And all of a sudden, it's this little Grand Cherokee on 33s leading 4 Rubicons on 37s, and the Rubicons are getting stuck.
Exactly.
And it's like,
it's technique a lot.
Did you not see that rock back there, bud?
We say it all the time.
They were too high up. They couldn't see it.
Well, that's the thing. And it's
all
like,
about the driver.
Where were you
right.
looking? Because you weren't looking at the trail. I can tell you that much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? I
Drop
don't
back
understand
rail.
how I hit that. I do. You drove right into the rock.
Right.
What are you
Right.
doing?
What am I hitting on? Your diff.
Yeah, your diff.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was
Like,
out
did
of the
you
way.
know what your lowest center point of your vehicle was, and do you understand that? And that's one thing I have to say. So I
Do you
went
want to talk about the women's clinic in Moab that you did?
Yeah, we can, but let me do
OEX.
yeah. I just want to say, just give a quick shout out. And the way I heard about OEX, Overland Experts, was through the Nova Jeepers, and they all took the course in the UREs in North Carolina. And let me tell you, a big shout out, because these gentlemen, they have so much experience. I mean, just they come from amazing backgrounds, but they really embraced, they didn't push you, and we even we did some very extensive classroom training. It was all about precision driving, because they know how expensive these rigs are. And, but I was also concerned too. I was like, well, I don't have the front and rear diffs. Like, I didn't think at the time that I was going to need that. I've got center. Okay, that's fine. They're like, that's okay.
Yeah.
If you learn how to drive it right, you're going to be okay. So we practiced with some left foot braking, and that was a huge game changer for me. So there were so many things that I learned. And I think that's one thing that I really, I try and preach, or, just from my experience as a newbie, still getting into this, being an enthusiast, invest in the course. Find a good course that you can learn, you can train at, because that right there is going to be an incredibly, it's such a great investment. So again, I have to give a shout out, and they even said to me, we were in some really, it was incredibly muddy. It had been raining nonstop.
That's North Carolina for you.
I would see other Grenadiers. They were crab walking. Literally sliding. And I said, Jesus, take the wheel. I'm not ready. Or as I told my husband, because he came, I said, Mike, take the wheel. I'm getting out. My anxiety was so high, because I'm like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put myself, people around me, or the environment being out on the trail.
Tread lightly.
I'm not going to damage.
Yeah.
I don't want to damage anything or harm anyone. And so, we got through it. But I love the fact that they were like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like, why are you here? Do you want to be here?
Yeah.
Should you be here? Because there are some people that should not be there. They
I think
really
an article
are.
just came out about that, deciding like when to say no in the off-roading world.
We tell people that all the time, whether it's working on your car, off-roading, anything, really. It's knowing when to stop is one of the most important skills as a driver and just as a person in general that you will ever learn.
Yeah.
Like knowing when you're about to make that critical mistake that there's no coming back from.
Right.
Whether it's going to end up hurting somebody, breaking something, it doesn't really matter. Driver mod is the most important modification to your vehicle, because if you're not a good driver, you could have the most capable rig. We've seen it time and time again. You're going to break something. You're going to get, like, best case scenario, you get stuck.
Exactly.
It is what it is. Worst case scenario, you break something, you hurt somebody, you hurt yourself.
That's
exactly.
You just don't want to do that.
No.
So
or
Taking
someone
the time
like
to
you,
learn your vehicle
and
is
then get
very
an
important.
instructor. You know, when I was doing steps, I was doing an obstacle one time, and I had a personal instructor, which was really great to have that one-on-one skill. Kyle over at Offroad Consulting, he's incredible, because we kind of got to know each other. And he's like, okay, you don't panic. I get that. He's like, you're uncomfortable. I said, yeah, I'm uncomfortable because I'm literally, my roll, it was ridiculous. My car was teetering. I was on 3 wheels, and I was on steps, and I was sideways. So all of that, and then there's like a 10-foot, 15-foot drop on the left side of me. And then right after that, if I had rolled, there was a 100-foot drop because it was around a curve. And I was like, okay. He goes, so what are you going to do? And I said, stop. I'm stopping. I'm going to just like chill for a second. And then we're going to try some other techniques. And then, you know, when I started to try and he put his hand on my car as if you could stop this car, and his eyes got a little wide, I was like, I need to really listen, and I need to like be patient, and I need to go calmly, because his whole purpose when I told him that day, what are you not good at? What are you the most, you know, fearful of? Because I'm all about being fearless. But, you know, that's kind of a cop-out because you still get scared.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, give me a break.
If you're not scared of something, you can't push
That's
yourself
ridiculous.
beyond it anyway.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
The difference is people that sit on their hands and go, oh, yeah, I just don't like it because, you know, I'm not into that. No, it's because you're scared of it. It's because you don't have the balls to try to conquer it. And if you don't do well at it, it's okay. Like, practice.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sitting there like, I told him the one thing that really wigs me out is being off canter really far.
Oh, yeah.
And that
should wig
I love
everybody
washouts.
out.
We love doing washouts, and our
That
car
was
was
so
like
much
this
fun
and
in
this.
Moab. Oh my gosh.
But when you're
Vincent
on
thinks
like
it's great for that as you're driving
Yes.
through the sand and you're just
Exactly.
hitting the
Oh,
bank.
Oh my
So
goodness!
fun.
Going off camber was so much fun. Like I
I
remember
said
when
canter
I did
earlier.
Yeah, you did.
I'm
It's
like
all
horseback
good.
riding.
but we,
it is. I mean, it's
Same
my
thing.
horse.
it was
Same thing.
that was one of my biggest fears because I thought I was going to flip over. You know,
Yeah.
and that was one of the obstacles over at OEX that we
Right.
practiced. And I'm like, oh my gosh! And they're like, just stay straight. It's okay. And then you'll go into it. You know, but I think that there was a really good analogy, you know, just remember like how water flows and just go with it. And when we like opened
Turn
up the
into
engines
it,
on the
man.
sand washes and those toboggans and everything, I mean, oh man, if I could get it a little bit higher
Oh,
without
yeah.
damaging anything, then, and not the rig, I'm talking about, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
Yeah.
the environment,
Yeah.
right? Because, you know,
But
you have
that's
to be
knowing
really
your
careful.
car too. Like you just
Right.
you
Oh.
kind of learn what it feels like, and you're not going to learn that until you do it. So
Yes.
if you
Get out of your comfort zone.
yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit.
And then
Yeah.
knowing, of course, it's a tall car too.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny because I have some friends that I off-road with, and he's got a Bronco Sasquatch. And I'm like, God, he's not going to make it through this tight little narrow part of the trail.
They're-
It's like
they're
he's going to
wide.
get tons of pinstripes. Did you know Anand told me this and educated me because Anand is one of the, you know, he knows everything about the Grenadiers, and he's on the forums with
Yes.
Stu Barnes and stuff. He was like, oh, actually, they're only like 0.1 inch difference. I was like, bro, man.
Yeah.
So I thought I was like all narrow, not going to get. I mean, my car is full of stripes. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and you know what? Even on the rooftop, because I let my budding driving 16-year-old son take my car, and he panicked and he drove into the woods and under some pine trees, and all you heard when we stopped the car was all the way to the back, and I was like, oh, let me get on top of the roof, break all these branches so that when I pull the car back out, everything will be fine. But, you know, the steering is one of the things that, you know, my kids who are 117, 116 that are driving and they're new drivers, it's like there's so much play in it. And I was like, well, there's a reason for that play. You know, so every time they get in the car to drive my car, which I still let them drive, even though he crashed it once, he's like going like this. And until they just keep going like this, and until they kind of start to be like, oh, I don't have to wiggle it so much, you know, just kind of feel what's
Yeah.
going on, then they've gotten a little bit better. But I mean, if you're not going to use it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get it. You want to maintain it. You want to take care of it. But I think the bigger part of also what Candy was saying earlier in education is when you educate yourself, you learn that you don't know anything. You learn more that
Oh, yeah.
you, like for me, gardening, same thing. The more I learn about plants, the more I know everything is unpredictable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The more I know about my car or cars in general, there's just like, I can't hug the elephant, man. It's really big. And so that's why I ask for help a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in doing that, because I'd rather ask for help and be, this is the teacher in me, a lifetime learner, rather than being like, oh, you know, I got this.
Yeah.
I don't always have it. That's okay. But, you know, that's why it's cool doing this as a woman too, and together, because women naturally, they want to feel secure.
Yeah.
They want to make sure, hey, okay, I know what to expect here. This is the plan. This is how we're going to do this. And I'm going to come out the other side safe. It's like, you know, how we rely on men sometimes for protection and security. Well, when I'm in this car, I'm relying on it for quality, protection, security, and capability. You know, just like a big sturdy husband. Sometimes,
She's not talking about you, Chris.
sometimes, you know, your brain starts messing with you, and no matter how capable your rig is, it's the operator error. It's the driver.
Yeah.
It's the person.
Shit happens.
Shit
It
happens.
does.
I just said a bad word. I'm supposed to do 10 push-ups every time I do say a bad word. Anyways,
We would
I'll
be
do
in
them
such
later.
better shape if we had that rule. Oh my God. Oh man.
But to trust your rig, that was something that we learned when we were at Moab for the Women's Expedition Clinic, because we were both ambassadors for that. We really enjoyed being with other women who not just had the same car, because we're from all different backgrounds, but the idea that we were all there
Yeah.
to like do something with it. Now that to me is so cool.
Oh, yeah.
That brings people together, right? And then you're at all these different varying levels. I wanted to be on Hell's Revenge. They wanted to go to the Buttes, okay? Or like Chicken Corners or something like that. And now I could be like, oh, I'm looking down on that. I want to do something more crazy. But holy moly, I learned so much just starting from the basics. Like, for example, this car, you know, it has the little for your braking system here. One of the best things that they taught me is put your car in neutral so that you can preserve that little piece. I forget the ping. What is it called? It keeps the car with the braking in
Yeah.
park.
Sarah was explaining it.
So I put it in neutral, and then I just pull about 3 clicks up on the handbrake, and then I put the car in park. So that thing that's very small. The
parking pole?
Yeah, the pole.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay.
So that over time, like, can easily break.
Yep.
So it was just something as, you know, minor, but really not minor.
Yeah.
To use that, and then experiencing where are you rolling. Okay.
Well,
Like when you do
and
that.
that's the bigger purpose too.
Yeah.
Is, you know, you want to really make sure your rig is secure.
Oh, yeah.
You know, before, so wherever you are, because sometimes you have to stop in the middle of that trail. You know, to assess things even further. So that's really key. And I really now I'm, you know, like you, try and remind myself of that process
Yep.
because you
One
know
time I
there's-
got hit from behind by a Bronco. That's a story for another day. And that was on trail. That was really
Oh.
interesting. Yeah, I'm
Tom's
really
got
glad
a
no
good
one got
story
hurt.
about getting hit from behind on the trail too.
Yeah.
Almost
And,
destroyed his
dude,
fuel cell.
My
in his
car didn't
rig.
move. Like
I believe it.
The most I got was the cover of my spare tire wheel. Just got like a tiny little cut in it. That was it.
I mean, the
I'll take it.
Broncos
I'll take
aren't
it.
that strong, so it's fine. But I know
So-
you guys were. I know you were out in Moab, and anyone who hears Moab, they just go, that's a great trip. But you guys were out there for a big event. Like,
Yes.
it
Oh,
wasn't
yes, we
just
were.
a trip to go hang out and run trails like
No.
normal people. It was
Right.
The biggest Grenadier gathering in the world.
Yes.
112 Grenadiers
Wow.
or quartermasters came together. So Voyager Outdoors is owned by Mike Reed. And Mike Reed is, quite simply, he's an extraordinary human being.
He's amazing.
And
He and Lisa.
you wouldn't know the difference between just nice guy,
Yeah.
you know, and anyways, he's awesome. And yes, Lisa is incredible as well. They put this event on because they loved what they saw with the Grenadier. And through his, you know, Voyager Outdoors expeditions that he runs, I mean, like, these are, you know, awesome, sometimes fully catered 5-10 day long expeditions that they do people.
We're going to the wrong events.
Yes.
Seriously.
Start bringing my Jeep.
No, it was it was amazing.
They like
I want
literally.
someone to make me a sandwich. Like, I'm the cook in the group,
She's
so
the
I'm always
Sammy.
the one
She's
making
the
food.
Sammy person
Look,
right there.
I was the road Sammy girl.
Yeah.
So
Hey, it sounds like 24 hours. I was in the back during 24 hours, literally getting bounced around making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like,
That's nice.
there you go.
Just might as well just start, you know.
we had a little bag of like these strawberry yogurt covered pretzels vehicles and just be like tossing them up into the front. Like, there's your
no.
stack. There's your stack.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. But when we were out there, they rented the entire Spanish arena, and they outfitted. This is the thing that just, oh my gosh, it's a thing of beauty. They had a dealership, which is one of the best dealerships as
Warner.
well on that coast. You know, I really do love RDS here that we did get our
Yes,
Grenadiers
absolutely.
from. But over there, they set up an entire check station.
Yep.
So your car had to be approved. It
Oh.
had to have an inspection.
They're going through tech safety.
Yes.
Yeah, no, they
And-
seriously checkpoints.
good, though.
Right.
That is- no, that is-
Inspected. They
that's
got
awesome.
underneath the rigs, making sure there were no
That's-
leaks.
And they were
Awesome.
accessible
Yeah.
like 24/7 during
yeah.
the entire event.
Not only that, but I was supposed to go there
Damn.
after the banquet because I wanted them to reset my TPMS.
Yeah.
Like it was still acting a little crazy. You know,
Those-
it's just
those
crazy.
things.
It's a software thing. I'm
We just
telling
had
you.
a whole discussion on the phone. about that the other day.
Well, you know, it is what it is, but it's all good now. My old one hooked me up when I had to replace the windshield there. But, you know, Todd, they were on standby 24/7.
That's awesome.
They were there for everyone. And they were like, yeah, just bring it by. They're like, we got a campfire. We got a hot tub.
I missed
we got
out on
all
the hot
this.
tub.
Can you believe that this is the hookup that they had?
Damn, that's
But
awesome.
that's
I
because
was
these
like-
people are like, you know, when you meet people and you kind of just jive, and then you're like, that's a good person. Like they got their energy is good. They're not. I mean,
But
sometimes
they're
that can be a
passionate.
lot, but they're like
yeah,
they know.
Yeah, no, they're.
They know, you know, in your heart and in their hearts, there's just like good people with good integrity.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why they have those relationships.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's why everybody was there to support them. And then that's why so many people from around the world, we had people from Australia come to the event and have
Damn.
their Grenadiers there.
Yeah.
We had like top aftermarket companies all there driving their rigs.
Well, can we just talk about all the women from Rebel Rally that were there?
Yes.
Rebel,
Yes.
Yeah.
Artemis. I mean, you know, how inspiring is
Right.
Yeah,
that
that's
too?
awesome.
I'm doing Artemis in 2 weeks now.
Yeah,
I think
that's
so.
right.
Yeah,
Almost-
that's
almost there.
Gotta check the watch there.
Yeah. But I mean, that right there was just like, I was, wow. You know, these are, and this is something that Anisha and I, and we should talk a little bit about the club and why, but I think for us, I mean, this is, you know, real women, you know,
Yeah.
just connecting with real women who are,
Grassroots, baby.
who are out there. They're not, you know, I mean, they have a presence on social media. They have the support, they have the sponsorship, but that's because they've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's just amazing to see and experience and listen, you know, to everything that they've done. I mean, it was just so impressive.
Well, and then they're all willing to help you, like in
Yes.
this very clean, beautiful manner. They're not sitting there and you know how women can be sometimes. Sometimes
Yeah.
they can be like petty and catty and what you
There's
know.
a lot of
we're-
gatekeeping in the off-road world
Oh my
sometimes.
gosh!
Right?
Oh.
Right.
Well, when you get to
Yeah.
a certain age
Yeah.
and like a certain level of experience, I don't give a crap about all that stuff. The thing I want to do is
So
have
over
fun
it. Oh,
and
yeah.
connect with women
Yes.
or men. I personally have always ran around. This sounds terrible with men, but
Well, I
it's
think you
more-
and I both, because
Just
of
kidding.
our culture
That's
and
fine.
the way we were raised. I mean,
Yeah.
we typically, like, our
We have
best
really
friends,
strong personalities.
We're
We're
always
totally
the opposite
capable,
sex
you know?
because, you know, it's just, you know, it's hard.
Women
you know,
get
because
really intimidated by that stuff when you kind of know what you want and you don't compromise for anyone.
Yeah.
And one thing that I noticed in the off-road world is like, I don't necessarily have to assert myself in the way that just because I'm a woman, like people are just genuinely happy to help
Yeah.
you. But at the same time, like you have to have a progression of learning. So if I'm coming back to the same person, asking the same question, doing the same thing over and over and over again, you know, like people are going
At
to
a certain
see,
point,
oh,
you're
wow.
not listening.
Exactly.
That's what
you're
it
doing the
comes down
same
to.
thing.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you know, they see you growing, then they're just like, whoa. And they just continue to support, lift up, like give kudos, and they're just excited.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff we're seeing so much of.
Yes.
And that's why also, you know, Women's Ineos Grenadier Club is not affiliated with Ineos Grenadier, although I wonder if we've caught their attention yet because it's worldwide.
Yeah, I'm
we
sure
have
you
a
have.
Facebook group. We have, of course, our website. We have a presence on social media as well. But I think the biggest thing about this is that we don't care, even if you have a different car than a Grenadier.
Yeah.
Just like, let's get together and have fun and not be afraid to try different things.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they talk about Candy's definitely really good at the women empowerment and gathering and a tribe and stuff like that. And I definitely probably am more about the challenge and more about like, because I'm a serial traveler. I mean, like, I've taken my children on 80-something trips in the past 9 years. I love to see different things, and I want other women to know you can do. I have 5 kids. I take them all most of the time. I had a 4-year-old toddler. Well, he's not a toddler anymore, but he came with us across the country
That's
to
impressive.
Moab. He was hanging halfway out the car with the no doors, you know, in the Jeep.
That's
on
not going
Hell's
to change.
Revenge.
We hang out the doors halfway on the
Exactly.
trails.
Yeah.
So
You know?
he's about as mature as he's going to get for the rest of his life.
Totally.
That's okay. That's okay.
We're here for it.
Right. But, you know, when you have that camaraderie amongst women who are just really just rallying and they're rooting each other on.
Yeah.
you know, lifting each other up.
Exactly.
I mean, it was just so incredibly positive, and that's what I love. And I come back, I do a lot of like the nonprofits and just working with women.
Yeah.
You know, working with women and especially young women, you know, and just giving them that confidence to see, because I did a lot of stuff with, you know, like women in technology and cybersecurity and engineering, and as you know, there's still a really big gap, you know, so it was exclusively for women, and we got a hard time sometimes. I'm like, you know what, because there's nothing like that. Like, you've got the boys robotics club, you've got the Lego club. Well, where are the girls cybersecurity clubs, or where's their robotics clubs?
Yeah.
I mean,
I should have brought
you
Lauren.
know,
Yeah, you should have.
I mean, you know, these are the things that we were, you know, that I was so involved in, my husband and I, for so many years,
Yeah.
because, you know, we did competitions, you know, because they needed to gain that confidence. They needed to be in an environment where they could gain that confidence, ask those questions, you know, especially when then, you know, like the middle school
Oh, yeah.
and like early high school years, because nobody wants to, you know, raise their hand and ask the questions. Like, she's always asking questions, which is great. Even me, I was one of those girls, because I was like, oh my gosh, you know, it's gonna be a stupid question. Well, you know, nowadays, like, no question
There's no
is stupid.
such thing.
No, there is
I'd
no
rather
such
you ask
thing.
the question.
It's
Like-
cliche, but
Yes.
you know, with girls and women in general, I think the first thing that happens is they're like, I can't. And it's not because I can't, because they don't, you know, see the future and they can do it. It's more like, I can't right now. And the right now needs to be remediated by small baby steps.
Yeah.
So this is the why, like, you know, the club. Why do we have this club too? Well, what we're doing, and I'll go through the list, but I mean, we are creating opportunities for women to have education that is tailored specifically to women's psychology and their ability to gain confidence in off-roading or overlanding, or even in general, just like utilizing their cars and knowing what to do in emergency situations. It's really important to know that when you put a middle schooler in this car who's a girl and goes off-roading, at the end of the day, they're like, what? This is so awesome. You can do this. You're like a mom, and you're like, this is so cool. I bring all these photos back to my classroom, and I show these kids, not because I just want them to think I'm cool, you know what I mean? Because they really think I'm the military sergeant. But
It's a little bit that. It's a little bit
right.
that. Like, oh, it's cool.
But I'm like, yeah, do you see this like really cool thing that I went up and came down and didn't die? And then they're like, you can do that? I'm like, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
If you try. So you have to give an environment to women, generally speaking, that is really wholesome with security, with I know what to do in this circumstance. And then when you have that plan and then you experience it, you practice it, then all of a sudden their toolbox gets fuller and fuller and fuller.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you're together with other women, you know, we're sharpening one another.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And one girl was, what is it, Christina, or I forget. She, when we were in Moab, there's like 500 places in the engine that I'm trying to just like put my negative on, my grounding. And it was such a bee. I'm sorry, but that, any nut and bolt and on the side. Well, she was like, hey, the one that works best for me is right on the engine block. Put it here. It never fails. I'm like, bro, you are awesome. I love you. I did it. And I was like, oh, now my compressor's working. It wasn't the compressor. It was me. So,
User
you know,
error. That's okay.
when you have the opportunity to share experiences like that, you expose yourself to all the things that you don't know because you're not in it. You're not in the thick of it. And I think that when women get together, we're doing Mountain State Overland. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Next year, Women's Ineos Grenadier Club is hosting like a 4 about a 4-day expedition through West Virginia.
Nice.
And it's going to not just be the overlanding part, and they have incredible media and everything, but we're actually having an instructor come in with a template and a rubric that is tailored for women learning in off-roading with the specific car, because
That's awesome.
It's a small amount of people, because you want it to be intimate, and you want to tread lightly. So normally Mountain State Overland makes sure that you know they can take it, because they'll probably do 5-6 cars max of Grenadiers, and then they'll have like 3 to 4 cars of their crew.
Yeah.
So I mean, the support system is going to make a woman feel like I can do this, because look at all of the help I have, and then they'll be like, oh, I can do this alone too, or I can do this with my kids, or you know, I can do this without having someone at first. Maybe you have to have your hand held, right?
Yeah,
but that's okay. That's okay though, because it's like it's one of those things where we've always found that people learn the best when you're dealing with someone who's truly just passionate about it because they love it, right? Like it's not just a job for them. It's, you know, yes, instructors get paid to do those jobs and do it, but the best instructors are the one who are really just out there because it's like, I could do this every single day and I will always enjoy it. And those are the best ones to have, because they will literally hold your hand until they go, you don't need this anymore. Like, you're fine.
Their goal
In fact,
is not
you've been
more
driving for the last 30 minutes and not asked me a single question. I think we're there.
Right.
And that's where people start to really feel comfortable.
Sure.
Because those first trails are always going to be the ones where you're either going to fall in love with it or you're going to realize this isn't for me.
Right.
Which is fine. Like, not everyone has to love what we love doing, and that's okay. Like,
that's why we live in America.
Well, but it's not just that, but like we have customers that come in and the first thing they say to us is like, I'm never going to go off. It's like, that's fine. That's fine. Like, if you just like the way the car looks, that's totally fine.
Yes.
It's your money. It's your vehicle. You do what you want with it. We are not here to judge you. Like, this is our job. We're going to put your vehicle together, and as long as you're in love with it, we couldn't be happy.
To your needs, and that's
but
it.
If you ever get to a point where you go,
let's go,
maybe I do want to try it, we will be the first ones with our hands up going, do we have a trail for you?
Yes.
There's a handful of people like that.
Oh, yeah.
Where they came in saying, no, we're not going to go off-road, and then they see what we've done on like trips and stuff to like Moab, and they're like,
it's totally inspiring, right?
And it just makes you feel good when you can take that person who's really iffy about something and tailor that experience for them, and they make them feel comfortable with it.
Yes.
Right.
Because that's really the biggest thing, is so many people, and rightfully so, these are expensive vehicles regardless of what you have. You don't want to break it.
But they're capable.
But they're capable.
Okay, let's talk about that, though. Like, let's talk about this car, because this is one thing, and I talk about this with a lot of people online. This car is really capable. So I have like a level of trust in it that, you know, when I had my Land Cruisers, for example, which I've had plenty of accidents in, slid into a tree that was really fun on a gravel road, because on the other side of that was like a creek that was a huge drop. Thank God for that tree. So I got that car. Line. I got that car essentially from my parents, the first one I had. And the reason why my father actually got that Land Cruiser was because his experience overseas in the Middle East, everybody had Land Cruisers. It was the most capable car.
Sure.
Okay. So he was sand dune driving, all that stuff. And but then on our property here, it would get stuck in the mud, because we're not in the sand dunes.
It's not designed for that.
So you know, now I have this car, and you know, of course, you have your tracks, you have recovery stuff. That's fine. But it's really capable, like more capable than any other car that I've been in, without even turning on the diff locks, which took me forever because this car has to be broken in. So essentially, you know, you have your gear shifter and it's got the BMW turbo engine in it. So it's like, it's just got a lot of power. When you turn it on, it's so sexy. Oh my gosh, it's like guttural sexy. And then the, you know, you have your center diffs, high load center diff. But when you actually go into center diff and put on your diffs, it's a button. Now, I know a lot of Jeeps and a lot of Broncos have their little button systems, and it tells it what to do. Like, this car makes you become a part of the process.
Sure.
And it's very manual, all right? And so that forces you to learn, why are you doing this, right? So if I'm in an obstacle and I just somehow, no matter which way I like weave, no matter what I'm doing, I'm spinning a tire, or maybe I don't have correct contact, and I need to use my differentials, which is like the last case scenario, it should be. I was having a lot of difficulty getting it to engage. And I kept saying, okay, I look at the manual, I look at YouTube, I'm like, what the heck am I doing wrong? Well, really, it was more about this had to be broken in. So I was doing the timing right.
Yeah.
I was making sure rears, of course, are always going on before the front. I was making sure that I was slowly rolling or doing whatever, or doing it right before the obstacle. But the computer system is kind of, would you say delayed? It's a little delayed.
It's a little wacky in there
It's a little,
sometimes. We've
It's
seen it on
pretty glitchy.
It's got
Adrian's where
quirks.
you're like,
Yeah.
why did they set that up like that?
But
That's
hey,
a little weird.
it's a Generation 1 car. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you have to expect that, right? So when you're off-roading or you're modifying cars, stuff's going to break. Things aren't always going to go well.
Yep.
But people that embrace that and expect that to happen are on a totally different mental wavelength than people who are pissed off every single time something goes wrong.
Just because of all these quirks. And I think that's one thing, everyone I talk to, I'm like, and even, when I'm at, I was at mile 1, I was talking to them, I was like, you guys need to find ways for the customers to experience this vehicle, this rig off-road.
Yeah.
Right.
If they can't see its purpose and what it was truly built for, then they're not going to truly appreciate, and they're going to be able to, look beyond all of the little crazy
This is an
quirks that are
off-roading car.
happening.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way it was built. That was the purpose.
Well, when we were working on Adrian's and we were getting the winch installed and everything like that, great little features. It's got its own little ports for where you can hook the winch directly to it. You don't have to worry about getting it straight to your battery. All this because obviously the battery's sitting in the back of the car.
Right.
But the one little quirk that we found out, which we were like, that seems like a serious design flaw, was the fact that to be able to use your winch when you're using that specific winch post, is the car has to be in park.
Right.
That's kind of a problem if you're trying to recover yourself and pull yourself out of an obstacle.
something, right.
Because how is your car going to move under the power of the winch if you have to be in park?
Yeah.
So now it's like, guys, that's a great function if you're pulling someone else out. But even then, sometimes you got to readjust.
Yes.
You need to be moving. You need to move out of the way. The fact that you have to go from park to moving, back to park, to moving to park again to use the winch, going to be kind of a problem sometimes. Not that, again, you should never
That's
really
all of
wheel
your
by yourself.
pre-planning pack
But
before you go
sometimes,
out.
even when you're with other people, sometimes someone else can't get into a good position to pull you
Exactly.
out,
Sure.
and you have to be self-reliant. Well, now
And
I
that
can't
car
be.
has to pull something super heavy too.
Well, it's like now I can't be because I got to be in park.
Right.
What am I supposed to do?
Right.
So it's like, all right, guys, take that one back to the drawing board a little bit. Maybe
Don't get stuck.
Maybe put it in neutral. Maybe.
I like that. Don't get stuck.
That's the bottom line.
We could
That's the bottom
say
line.
that all day long, but
And some
on.
people, there's the speed feature. There's the little, they came out with Justin, and they have this online, the little push button. It's like a little $60, I think, about piece of metal that you just screw in, and it just keeps the auto engine start-stop just indented.
Pressed at all
It's like
times.
pressed at
Pressed
all
all
times.
times.
I
And I
think
mean, for
Adrian's
some
gonna want
people-
that. Adrian hates that.
Right.
But you get used to it. You have your process. As soon as you
Right.
get in the vehicle,
Oh, yeah.
you're like, okay, well, I gotta push this button. I gotta turn my little hey, you're going past the speed limit. You have it in
I
your
just tell my
favorites.
kids, hey, set me up. And then
Yeah,
they
it's-
boop, 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 boop. And I'm like, all
It's
right.
like an iPad.
Auto start stop is one of the worst features they've ever added.
I don't understand how that's supposed to preserve and prolong
It doesn't.
anything.
Yeah.
The only thing it does is it causes your car to turn off and off 20 times
20
when you're
million times.
driving to the grocery store.
Right.
It's like, guys,
Right.
why are we doing this to the motor?
Right.
Like they already
It's
tell
not
you
designed
only
for
get
it.
so many key turns on a motor, and
Exactly.
you've just
Ignition,
exponentially
on, off,
increased
on,
that.
off, on, off. Like, doesn't make sense.
I will keep my regular key pickup truck that
Right.
doesn't have that feature. Thank you very much.
Right.
Like, screw
Yes.
that.
Well, and I think there's so many other cars out there, for example, like the Rivians, and then they're coming out with a lot of EV stuff that's for off-roading, and then you can plug your Jeep in and stuff like this, and they're really neat and cool. I will
They're not
never
practical.
Yeah, I
have a
don't-
car that's off-roading that isn't a gas
Yep.
car.
Correct.
I agree. Me too.
It doesn't for me personally doesn't make sense. And I'm not going to try to travel really far in overland and have to worry about plugging my car in where I want to be in a desolate place where nobody can reach me. Like, you know what? I'll put 5 gas cans on my car if I have to, just so that I can have the freedom of not
With
being
lots of fire
found.
Also,
extinguisher.
filling your gas tank with a gas can is going to take you about 3 minutes. And not
Instead of
2
3
hours.
hours?
Now, I will say, we have seen the 4xEs off-road, and don't get me wrong, like they create a ton of torque. Like the power behind them is great, but what are you gonna do? Like, what if you just drove 3 hours to the trail and you're running a little
Now you're
low?
done.
And guess what? These rural towns don't have EV centers. Like,
Right.
You're at a gas station.
Yes.
But I will say, I mean, you know, these rigs, and as when we experienced at Flagpole, and I knew they're thirsty. They are thirsty, and so you always got to be prepared.
There's a reason that sticker exists where the dude's just pulling the fuel gauge, and he's just like, it's not empty, I swear.
Really, though, it tells you when you have not even, I think it's a little bit more than a third of your tank left. Then it starts blaring at you.
That's a bit obnoxious.
From the outside, too.
And then...
Like, I could hear yours. I think yours did it earlier.
Yes, it is. It is. It was dinging at me.
Noise was?
Yes.
I, on the other hand, ran to Costco just in case. That was the sound that it makes when you are low on fuel, or what they consider to be low on fuel.
I'm that girl that
through the window if I had to hear that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the one that like pushes the car until it goes to that one red line.
You and my wife.
Yeah. But
No,
I'll still fill it up.
I'm like,
But
she
I'm like,
won't.
I can do this. It'll be fine. And then I'm looking around like, is anybody going to save me? I'm like, no, I need to pull off.
I got in her car the other day and I sat down and I went, I guess I'm going to the gas station. And she, oh, yeah, I meant to do that. Yes, yeah, meant to. Yeah, whatever. Go to the gas station.
Well,
We're just
that's
gonna
a
be 30
great
minutes late now.
husband
It's
you
fine.
are. That's great.
Yeah, I don't take any chances with the because you know here in the DMV, I mean you're driving, you're going to
Or
get
stuck
stuck
in
into
traffic.
you know a bad accident or something, so you don't know. And if you're low on fuel, my goodness, I mean you're
Yeah,
going
if
to
you're
be
leaving
burning.
for your commute in the morning with a quarter tank and you live more than 15 minutes from work,
Yeah.
probably want to fill up the night before.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now that I'm like mentally looped back around, my diffs work beautifully. They're like amazing, and now they
How did we
actually
get-
work. Because I
they have
just was
gas.
looking up there, and I was like, if I press it, it works now. I'm telling you, it had to be broken in. Like you have
That's
to
such a
almost like it
weird-
learns. Like, is there AI that I don't know about in this
I hope
car?
not.
You
Yeah,
know, but
I
I think
don't
it's
know.
also like it had to be broken in physically. A little bit of shearing in there, probably a little bit of movement.
That's
It just-
interesting.
It just had to get broken in. So now, when I do that, it works. But hey, who knows? I could have been
Well, it's
missing
also
a step.
just like you said. It's also just kind of like figuring out the motions too. Like
Right.
we deal with it with people in Jeeps too, and theirs is literally just a button. But the one thing that we've always seen newer off-roaders struggle with is engaging the transfer case, because in all the Jeeps, it's still just a manual shifter,
Right.
And the biggest thing is they're like, yeah, it goes into 4 high, no problem, but everything else, it just gets stuck, and it's
Yes.
like. Yeah, because there's a process for that.
Exactly.
You gotta stop. You put it in neutral. You go to neutral. Go to 4 low. Put it in drive. Let it roll forward and catch
Exactly.
before you hit the gas. Because that's the one thing that always happens is someone thinks they're in 4 low. They give it gas, and all of a sudden you hear, like,
Yeah.
Grind them gears.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
grind them till you find them. Like,
Oh,
just-
there was some grinding.
Yeah.
Out
You
in the
know,
lab.
and it's interesting because that happened to me. I actually no issues, and then I think it was Sunday. I don't know what was going on, but I had a few quirky things that popped up because we actually were going to
Because the light stays on, flashing
Well,
at you, and
no,
then you
well, I
have to
don't
feel
have-
the car disengage.
Yeah, but I don't have the front and
Be
rear,
like,
so
okay.
that doesn't happen to me. I only have the center, right?
Okay.
So, but it was interesting because I think because I have the skid plates on, it was really hot. We were going to when we were doing the Buttes Towers, and then I think it was Determination Tower where we took the
M&Ms.
pictures. Well, we did
yeah.
M&M, but then the towers, the Determination, I think that's where we took the pictures. All of a sudden, I hear this massive hissing sound. I mean, it sounded like someone just went and punctured my tire, and I was like, "What in the world?" I mean, in fact.
She was worried about it.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
Terry,
that's-
Terry could hear the hissing coming from my car.
Cars away.
And
Yeah.
I
I
was
mean, that's
like,
not
no.
normal, so.
No. But I talked to Christian, and Christian's like, you know, especially after preparing, and I mean, you know, with
It
her
was supposed
knowledge.
to happen.
I guess it was the waste gasket. It was releasing air. Does that make sense from the BMW, the turbo? It was yeah.
It was releasing pressure, like it was passing
releasing-
gas.
Right. It was
Yeah.
just, that's what it was.
I mean, I'm not a BMW guy at any
we'd have to ask
capacity,
Tom.
but
We'd have to ask Tom
I mean,
that,
it's
'cause
if I recall, that's and I'm looking at her. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, that
Never heard
sounds
of a
good.
motor off
well,
I feel
gas.
like that's something you should probably tell people when you buy a car like
I'm
that,
just
though.
gonna, you know, be careful. But you know,
Right.
it didn't happen afterwards. But
Did they-
again,
did
I
they
don't
say
know if
it
there was
from
enough the heat.
extra strain of off-roading. Like,
It could have been. I mean, you know, but having those skid plates on, you think that there's not I was thinking about getting the breather kit
Oh
too.
no, I have to get a blow off valve.
I was like, what in the world? I was freaking out. I'm not going to lie. I was freaking out because here we are. What are we going to do?
She was
Well,
like,
it's
how do I get home? I
It's
just
also
want to
new
go
vehicles
home.
too, right?
It
Because
is.
you think about it and you go, how much have these been stress tested, right? Like
Yeah.
the whole point of the,
We are the
off-road
OGs
rated.
figuring
Yeah.
this stuff out.
But that's the point, right?
which is like why it's so important. I really stress this a lot. We met a couple of the Ineos corporate people, and like all of them are really awesome and nice. And I just think that their company is growing at such a faster rate
yeah.
than they can keep up with. But the people that are on grassroots, the ground, are the ones you want to be talking to, because
yeah.
we are the one driving these things, and then they
Every
haven't
day.
even driven in them
Yeah.
with the kind of
Yeah, it's a
experiences
stress
we've
test.
had.
Like
Yeah.
it's a massive stress
Right.
test.
Like I could have told her, oh, by the way, your center diff, it'll keep blinking and saying it's on, but you have to rely on the feeling of your car
Yeah.
to
Yep.
know it's disengaged.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like so that you can actually turn. And I've gone around a hairpin turn that I had to do like a 5-point with my diffs on, because I was like this with huge rocks. And to know that it's going to stay on, or when I press the button, it's going to disengage, so I can actually do that turning. You have to feel the vehicle, but you can't do that by just selling this car or knowing about it or the history of it. You have to be in this car,
Oh, yeah.
and you have to do the hard things. And something that we really expressed to corporate was, hey, like everybody here at the Grenadier gathering, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, please look at these women on the ground pushing themselves and their cars in your product. This is the story. The story is not like the celebrity selling the car. The story is in the camaraderie
Just go
and
get
the
Matthew
experiences.
Yeah.
I was
like
a Grenadier.
I get it. You
I
have
was a
like this
Grenadier,
really,
man.
beautiful experience, and I'm like an Olympic athlete, and dude, I just got stuck on a rock. How the heck am I going to get
Yeah,
off of
yeah.
this rock? And
Or worse, I just broke something really bad.
Right. My sister had kissed with her diff plates, and there was just red all over the rock, and we memorialized that.
Well, and that was
Did you take a piece of the rock?
No, not
took a
quite.
piece of her.
But
You
took a
have
piece
to-
of her.
Number one rule for off-roading: if you strike a rock with your car and a chunk breaks off, you have to take it.
Oh, well, no, a chunk didn't break off.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, I just
Okay.
kissed it. I just
Okay.
kissed it. And the
But yeah, if
thing
a chunk
was
ever
is
breaks
that
off, you
we
gotta
ended
take
up on fins,
we
so
have
we
two
were going
rocks
on
inside.
fins and things. And I think that there was probably, the trail that we went on was probably not quite expected, so we had to kind of figure things out.
Yeah.
It was one of those like, oh, okay, we need to figure this
Pivot.
out. And I will say that myself and Chris, we were the first ones to, until they figured out, no, there's a better line. There's a
Right.
better
Yeah.
line. So we're going to avoid that one because not only myself,
like, I wanna go
but
on that line.
Chris's vehicle, or you could hear, all
Oh,
the way
yeah.
because the line, it wasn't good. And, but it was a learning lesson. And thank goodness we had the protection because, for those that didn't have the protection. So yeah, I took a picture, didn't take off the rock, but that was the whole purpose, right?
Yeah.
I mean, thank
But
goodness
that's the
because
beauty
that
of it
is
too. Is
the
of
part
it being
where
in
you
the
worry.
group. Is you go into something, you go, yeah, we should be able to handle that.
Right.
And,
Correct.
And sometimes you get through it and everything's great. And sometimes the first couple people go through and you're like,
Let's
Like,
try and figure out what
they
else.
made
Yeah.
it through for X, Y, and Z reason.
Right.
Yes.
I don't have those, so
I got to figure
okay,
something else out.
Around we go.
Right.
And then it was beautiful afterwards.
Ego
Everybody
plays
else,
in
they
that
went,
too.
they went a different line. They went a
Yeah.
little bit more to the right, and it's okay. It's all
But
good.
that's where being a good driver comes into it, right? Is you have to be able to watch the people in front of you and realize, did they mess up, or is this just a truly capability issue,
Well,
right? Like, is
we
the vehicle
had
just
that.
not possible to do it,
Yeah.
or did they take a bad line? Should they have backed up? Should they have
Exactly.
gone a different way?
Or is
That's
it the
all
driver too?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like that's where the experience comes into play,
Right.
because if you get a group of all brand new people, that's where things are going to struggle a little bit. It's going to take a lot longer
Well,
because
on the-
everyone's just kind of, oh well, I'll just do the same thing and hopefully it's okay. It's like, no,
you can't. Yeah, you can't always depend on that.
On the other side of baby's line back, you can go down sort of like the easier descent, or you can do a little bit harder descent. And one of the women she's just such an incredible woman, Susan Piper, she drives the Warner Grenadier
Yeah.
for Rebel Rally. And I don't know how many times she's
4
done
times.
Rebel. 4 times.
4 times.
So,
Yeah.
And then there's some other women that we're with have done it.
And
or
Elise, her
just
partner,
doing
was
it.
there too, 3 times.
Yes. She actually, when she went down the harder line, a lot of them were like, whoa, because her back wheels came off. She's nose down. Back wheels lose contact with the rock. And what does she do? She just goes like this.
Yeah.
So in a lot
a
of
little gas.
situations, some women would be like, I'm going to die. I'm going to flip over.
That's not just women.
Well, yes. One might admit it and one might not. One might crap their pants
Yeah.
and one might not.
Oh, yeah.
One might
Yeah.
freeze up. But to know what to do in the circumstance like that, rather than being frozen and waiting for something to happen, they say to stop and to think. And I think that's really smart. But also sometimes you have to be prepared.
Oh, yeah.
And you just have to have really good instincts. And I think that's why even race car drivers, they have to have really good, quick, fast instincts. You can't rely just on skill. You have to know what to do for unpredictable situations. But to get to one other thing about the car's capabilities, something that I really love about this car, and this might be the foo-foo part of it, it's beautiful. It is aesthetically pleasing. This car is so gorgeous, and the inside and the interior is really beautiful. So you feel
It looks like an airplane inside.
I
Yeah.
know.
Like the
it's
way
a cockpit.
yeah.
the way
Yeah.
the entire upper portion
Right.
with all the aux switches, you're just
so
like,
cool.
like someone's worked on
Oh,
some
yeah.
planes before.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is
I know. That's why
very-
my husband was in love, because he's all
It's like the
about
Bell
Well, that's what made me
Ross
think of it, is
Warplanes.
saying that
Yeah.
he worked on helicopters. And I'm like,
Yeah.
he probably looked up at that and went, this is
He was
familiar.
in love. Like you could see, like the
We
little
got,
hearts.
oh
you
yeah,
know?
we got in it the first time. We're like, oh, wow, it's
Right?
like, all right, this is
Yes. Yeah.
nice. So like sometimes you look at some of the stuff and you go, okay, it might be a little over designed for like what the average person's going to use it for, but when you have that person that's like, I know some people who will use every single one of these
Yes.
switches,
Like a
and
farm car, and the
Oh, yeah.
auxiliary outlets on the
Yes.
outside
Yeah.
for the lights. But
that's cool.
Yeah,
that
is really
that's like
cool.
one of the
That's
coolest
forward
features we
thinking.
found, and we're like,
the
this
extra
is
battery that you can go ahead and use that stuff for, it's really awesome. I have yet to buy the super expensive lights that I would really like to put on the car. But
One
Need some
step
more of
at a
those
time.
sponsorships.
I know, we do.
even though it's gorgeous, and even though it does look like a cockpit and everything like that. I just said cockpit. The funny part is,
giggity.
giggity, this car is actually it's no frills. So, for example, because we were even looking at, my husband and I, because I had the really big box van, NV3500, and we were looking, of course, at the big SUV.
Yeah.
What is that thing called? The
I don't
Nissan
know, there's-
SUV, the large one.
Oh, the Armada?
Yes, the Armada.
Yep.
And I mean, this Armada was gorgeous. I was like $80,000 Armada, and I was like,
Yeah,
whoa.
they're not cheap.
No, and I said to him, I was like, this has a button and storage, and like they thought about traveling with kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like it had everything in it. And this car doesn't really have a lot of storage whatsoever.
Well, it's very utilitarian,
It's so,
you know?
but that's why I love it. It's like the army
Well, yeah,
of
it's,
the car.
it's a purpose-built vehicle,
Exactly.
and that's something that the average consumer is not used to dealing with.
Yes.
Right? Is they're used to, even when something is purpose-built, it still has a lot of the creature comforts.
Yes.
And like we've talked about it for years, and Tom has always said it a bunch, where we've always wanted Jeep to do something like that, where it's like, give me a Rubicon without all the frills inside.
Yep.
Give me the lockers.
Yeah.
Give me manual windows, like give me something that's legitimately trail ready, that doesn't have all this extra crap, that'll save 300-400 pounds in all the electrical.
Right.
And now we've got a real trail ready rig.
Yes.
Right? Like that's just what we want. You get the lockers,
You get the
the extra
function,
little bit of lift and
right.
function. And that is your trail rig. And that's what we really liked about this, is like they kind of took that route of, this is an off-roader.
Yes.
Whether you're overlanding, rock crawling, doesn't matter. This is to be used for off-roading.
And I've seen it in every terrain.
Keep
Yeah.
it simple, you
Yeah.
know, and it's
Well,
all
it's
about
like
keeping it simple.
Solid
and,
axles.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
that's the whole thing, is like they touted the Bronco as the Jeep killer and all this. It's like, dude, it's independent suspension. It's never gonna beat a
Right.
Jeep in strength, regardless of how shitty Jeeps are, and they're shitty.
Well, they
We
can
love
also be
them.
really awesome.
But that's like we love them, but they're like we call them the most reliably unreliable vehicle on the road, right?
Anti-Jeep Jeep Club.
They are built for one purpose. At least that was their original intent: is to drive over anything that's in front of you.
Right.
That's why they've never gotten rid of the solid front rear axles in the Wrangler, because it's just stronger. The amount of
Yes.
money you're going to have to put into a Bronco to make it as strong as that, I can take a third of that and still beat you in that. And that's what they've done with this. They've
Yes.
given a better drivetrain, solid front
Solid,
rear axle.
uh-huh.
Like, it's just...
Although
It's-
the,
Here you
the,
go.
Can we just
the
talk
cup
about like
holders-
if we have a
the cup
zombie
holders are
apocalypse?
narrow.
Yeah.
I'm
This
telling
is a
you,
tank.
this
Yeah. This is
rig
a
right
tank.
here. In fact, it's so funny because
Put a bulldozer scoop on the front of this, and you're golden.
Seriously, my neighbors, they'll comment to me because as I'm learning, and I want to learn how to fix it. I want to learn how to modify, add, so I've been going through, and, learning about the rig more. And, I finally changed the oil, and that was just hilarious. If you guys saw me squatting on top, all 5
Doing
tubes.
BMW
girls,
oil
but not
changes.
that-
Can I
or-
just talk about how someone, which I love Jason from Triad. Oh my gosh, he's the best. We hung out and met at OEX, but he's like, what about those shoes that you're wearing? I'm like, I know, my
Hilarious.
UFOs. They are the ugliest shoes in the world. But let me tell you, they are so incredibly comfortable, and
They're the
it was
Korean
good.
house
the job's
slippers.
done.
But no,
Who cares?
seriously, they,
Gotta
my
not wear your
neighbors
shoes
will
in the
come and
house.
they'll be like, "Are you preparing for the apocalypse?
Yes.
Because what are you doing? You're like,
Maybe.
it's like armor.
Yes.
It's armor."
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm just like,
But,
oh
but
yeah.
wait. So that's really funny because when COVID hit, I thought the world essentially had gone out their darn minds. And I just decided, because I had a little bit of social media before that, and I was like, this is crazy. I'm just going to peace out, homie G's. And I literally got off of everything for 4 straight years. And we only focused on our homesteading, procuring more land, and because we have land in West Virginia, and then making sure that we were prepared no matter what. Because we're a little bit of preppers here and there, and we make a bunch of our own stuff. But then
Lots of off-roaders are preppers. It
Right.
just comes with the
I just
territory.
don't know where she fits
of
it
being-
all, though. I'm going to be really honest. I said, I just don't know where you fit it all.
Oh, okay. So
In the secret
Because
bunker
can
under the
can
house.
I just say, I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you, like one day I had to have this conversation. I was like, you save all that stuff and you prepare. Yes, if you're going to hunker down there, fine. But me, I'm going to shit and get. Let me tell you, I'm going to grab my backpack. I'm going to hop in my rig
Yep.
and I'm going.
Right.
I am getting out of here.
That's called bug out.
That's
Yes.
exactly.
We've all got bug out
And that's the
bags.
thing. Like you can't take much with you when you're in that
No,
situation.
you
so I'm like,
cannot.
where are you going to put all that canned food that you
the trailer
you-
that I have on my property.
Well, yeah,
that's
but
already prepped.
that's extra weight. That's extra weight. I'm like,
So the things that I buried that I don't know exist anymore, I lost everything. So would I to
Tragic
get back to
boating
it?
accident.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to him.
Something sunk.
Yeah.
But
Sunk in the middle of the woods. I don't know how that happened.
exactly.
It's a mud hole. It's crazy.
Great. And when I got this car about a year ago or so, I was like, this is way too cool not to put on social media and just kind of gather up some ideas and see what everybody else is doing, and then making sure that we kind of had, because we have 4 Grenadiers in our family, and making sure that we have
I don't think you guys
access.
like them at all.
Yeah.
No.
Make sure we have access to what's going on with them, how to use them, what they're capable of, just being aware, and then also having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because the fun part about it, that's what keeps me up at night wondering how I can make more things happen. So, with the club, for example, the year that I have is absolutely insane. I mean, I'm doing Artemis Rally, and then right after that, we go into, of course, summertime and stuff.
Yep.
But this coming weekend, I'm going to the Ocean City Jeep Week. And I'm probably going to be bringing my Grenadier up there just to check out all the other Jeepers and tell them how much I love their groups, because I'm actually part of the Nova Jeepers group. And then also, just showing the rig and having a lot of fun with other people. So I'll be there this coming weekend. But then Artemis Rally, which is an incredible rally put on by Overlanding Project, and that is John Eller and his wife, and they're just incredible people in general. But it's a bunch of women, partners. It's women only, and you do waypoints, and it's lots of challenges. You get to do target shooting, archery. You get to do whitewater rafting, paddle boarding, canoeing. They have all these different challenges and waypoints that you have to hit. You have time constraints, and then you go to like a bivouac, which is just a campsite that they set up for you.
Yeah.
And you're going literally 4 days through the mountains and hillsides of North Carolina.
Wow.
So it's a really cool rally that I'm super excited to be a part of. And then after that, we go into the summer, and the summer schedule, and as you guys know, there's tons of festivals. There's so
You guys have one coming up too.
Yeah,
what do you have coming up?
June 21st at Devil's Due.
Yes.
You guys,
Oh.
you
Yeah,
guys
because
should, if you
I'm
can.
still trying to. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can.
'Cause what
I can
they're-
make
I'm going
that.
to be in Ohio.
They do it every year. They used to call it their Jeep Invasion, and we went to it last year.
Okay.
And we were just talking with them because we did a podcast episode before the event started, and they were like, "Yeah, we're trying to get more people," and we were just like, "Call it Off-Road Invasion." Because what we've always found, regardless of what vehicle you drive, if there's an event that is branded,
Right.
everyone else won't show up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? If you say Jeep Invasion, Toyota Invasion, Ford Invasion, like only those people will show up.
Right.
You're going to get a couple of the randos,
Stragglers,
you know,
yeah.
sprinkled in there who just like to go to the things. But at their event, it was 99% Jeeps. There was like one Bronco that showed up, and they had a couple randoms sprinkled in there. So what they're trying to do this year is they're just basically trying to sell the place out. So we were like, just call it Off-Road Invasion. So we're just the title sponsor of the event, and if we
Oh, wow, that's
if we
awesome.
sell out, they're going to do a private label bottle with DirtNerds logo.
No
on it.
way.
So cool.
So
That's
we're
so
like,
cool.
Bring your friends.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
trying to
That's
get
awesome.
we're trying to get as many people, because he's like, if we have to stack cars on top of cars, like
Yeah.
that's what I want.
Well, I mean, that's why we're
but
here
he- 'cause
today,
he's
That's
too.
what we'll be doing. We'll take
Yeah.
the Grenadier
Right.
and we'll be going on top
Yeah.
of those stacks of cars
Yeah.
because that's what the
But
Grenadier does.
DirtNerds takes care of your Grenadier.
Yeah.
And they've taken care of our other cars as well.
Did you,
I mean,
like,
this is why we're
my
here.
fine Falcon
that's-
wheels.
It's like an awesome place to be.
Tom's granddad says it the best. He goes, "You guys have created the best business model where you build it, then you take the people out to break it, so they have to bring it back for you to build it
Yeah.
again." And we're like,
Perfect.
I don't know what
Revolving
you're
door of
talking
income.
about.
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about, Grandpa Sylvester. That is not at all
You got
what we
crazy
do.
now.
Yeah, it's like, you just go sit over in the corner. Stop being so logical. Stop it. But yeah, it's like we've got that, and then we've got the feud, which is in October, which
Oh,
is
cool.
held by the descendants of the Hatfield McCoys. So
That
they
is
put on a
so
big like
cool.
off-road rally. So we're going down there to hang
Wow.
out there.
Wait, where is that at?
It's oh crap.
It's in West Virginia.
Yeah.
It is?
it's-
Okay.
it's like
And
up in the
when
holler.
in October?
It's like second weekend in October,
Okay, 'cause
I believe.
the third weekend,
It's the
we're going to
weekend
be doing
after
the
Expo.
GP Factor rally.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
doing
Yeah,
the GP
yeah.
Factor
Yeah.
Rally, overlanding for like 5
With MS
days.
Overland.
Yes,
Right.
we've
Yeah.
got June, and then there's another one in August that I think Tom is going to, and then October's big because it's basically Overland Expo, then the feud, and then 2 weeks after that, we're planning on going to SEMA.
Okay.
Awesome.
So we're
We got Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion too.
That's right, yeah.
Oh,
and
so
go to
I've
that
heard
Jeep
about that
Invasion.
one. That's
Yep.
supposed to be really fun too.
Yeah,
I'm
That's-
going to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, I guess I would have to go in my husband's Jeep for that one, but
I wouldn't.
no, but
Yeah,
we're
I
actually
wouldn't either.
doing. I always bring my car because that's one thing. I don't ever like being a passenger. I like being the driver. But after we have the Artemis Rally, yes, that's going to be awesome. But after that, I'm going to be in Summersville, West Virginia, and we're doing the Burning Rock.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That area. And then after that, I'll be in Acadia National Park doing some overlanding and camping. But in the meantime, I have to actually come back. There's this really interesting, super cool guy who got a hold of me online, and his name is Aaron Bombach. Like, little did I know that Aaron Bombach is like a famous guy. He was a race car driver, super connected, and him and his partner essentially do West Virginia Hill Fest and 4Fest. And he was like, "Hey, how can we get Ineos here?" And I was like, "Oh, let me figure that out for you," because like I'm totally integrated into the corporate world over there. It happened. It
That's
happened,
awesome.
and we ended up being able to connect him also with the local dealership, Mile One. Had a meeting with them, and now they're going to be present, and so will my club.
That's
I
awesome.
mean, I'm going to we'll have our own booth there as well.
Yeah.
And we are being sponsored by another dealership, RDS. And essentially, it's good to see that all of these people are self-organizing
Oh, yeah.
for this car. It would be lovely, of course, to have a little bit more corporate presence, but I know like they want to be there. I think they're just growing. They're in growing pains, and it's hard to be everywhere all the time, and they have to pick and choose.
And that's what Adrian was dealing with too, like going to the 24 hours events. You know, he's kind of like you guys. You know, he's trying to get tied in with those guys, and because they're obviously very interested.
At this point, I don't care. I'm just still going to do whatever the heck I want to do.
Oh yeah, and Adrian's the same way.
I like your car. Guess what? I'm making you more money anyways.
Yeah.
By
It's
the
free
way,
advertising.
we already bought the car.
Yeah.
We're already fans.
Yeah.
Like, and we're using it, and you get free everything from it. And I would never say a bad thing whatsoever about it. I love this car. I understand business. I get it. But at the same time, there is something about relationships and making sure your customers and your clients are taken care of.
Yeah.
To have a presence with that is really important because you want them not to just come back, but you want them to sell your story to the next person. How many people have we gotten to buy Grenadiers by now? And
enough.
So it's like, hey, that person is there because we told them about the experience we had because we're in the car doing the thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
And, to honor that and to make sure that they're tied into the community, not just, like I said, where are we going to sell it on this level and making sure that there's like all these cool commercials with all these cool people. Like, there's a lot of cool people here that do it because their love, their passion, their commitment to finding the next rig that's way more capable than the last one. And those kinds of people are the ones that have the most background, the most knowledge, and you can improve your brand and your car and your rig by talking to them. I mean, like Mike Reed was telling me he had 15,000 miles, or was it 15,000 miles he put on a Grenadier in Moab. And they're like, oh, wow, you really did that? He's like, yes. You want to know anything about the car that you're selling?
He tested everything out.
I will tell you what works, what doesn't work. He said it's very capable. But I can tell you every detail about driving this car in off-road situations.
Yeah. He put it to the test.
And that
that's
kind of
important.
support is important.
Yeah.
And
I think some of the larger manufacturers, because they're just so ingrained in the normal consumer's head, they take some of that stuff for granted, right? And but then you get a company like Eneos who not only are they just breaking into the market as a
they're
whole,
small too.
They're small.
Yes.
So they're kind of breaking into two individual markets at the same time: the off-road market and just the normal consumer market.
Correct.
And so you're not wrong. Like having the people who are willing to, one, put their own time and money into this vehicle that you've created. Yeah,
Honor
you want to be involved, and so it's like that's what Adrian's trying to do. He's trying because they want to be like, oh, we love off-road racing, like we love King of the Hammers, we loved it, and he's like, cool. Put stuff on my car because I'm doing these events already.
Correct. Just the same way we talked to them about Rebel Rally.
Like, hey, here's a phone
that's
number.
What we're doing.
Here's a contact. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be go drop $100,000 on something. It's talk to this person.
Yeah.
Get involved with this group. Like, these are the guys who are up and coming.
But
these are the ones to get on the ground.
30 years in the industry too. I mean, there's not a legend we didn't meet out in Moab. They all know where to be. They all know what they're doing.
Well, and people come to them.
Exactly.
Like that's really the biggest thing is you have this basically this consumable thing that's a person just standing there and people are gathering around them.
Right.
What else do you want?
What other opportunity do you need?
Yeah, it markets itself at that point. And if you're not trying to take advantage of that, maybe you're in the wrong department. Like, I don't know.
So, for example, like the Grenadier gathering that we went to in Moab, they have one for Oktoberfest happening.
Yeah. Okay.
And then after that, Grenadier Gathering 2 is going to be in April 30th through, I think, like May 3rd or so.
Okay.
And I'll definitely be at the Grenadier Gathering 2. It's just a matter of, like, at this point, we've driven across the country. It really wasn't too terrible.
Did you guys cannonball run it, or did you stop a few times?
Oh, no, like 36 hours straight.
Coming back, we did. Yeah.
We took a 2-hour break.
Oh, you took 2 hours?
We did.
We did.
We took about 4 minutes.
Oh, God, you beat me.
Stop it.
I'm so ashamed now.
Is this a competition now?
No,
Let's see.
no.
Watch out. We are like really competitive.
Yeah, we are. We're very competitive. But no, seriously, and I think
Did you jump any Grenadiers over cattle guards?
Oh, wow. Did you really? Did you really? Not that one, though.
Not in our own Jeeps.
No, not in our own Jeeps.
Just in Cheryl.
And Cheryl.
And Cheryl.
Wow.
There was a little
I love
Cherokee
that.
Trailhawk that we may or may not have rented.
Sounds
It's
like
fine.
fun. A little
That's
airborne.
great.
Yeah,
All right, so we're going with you guys next time.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
okay.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the reason we did it is because Tom used to live in Grand Junction.
Oh, wow.
And worked at a car museum at one of the big resorts out there.
Okay.
So when we were driving back from SEMA one year, we had driven historic 66 on the way in.
Oh, cool.
Which was incredibly depressing.
I said, cool.
Because
And
like
it's incredibly
all those
depressing.
towns are just like once you get to the
Dilapidated?
oh my
Yeah.
god, it's like
You see the tumbleweeds.
we
you
were
know?
like, oh yeah, because we're like, oh, like we grew up watching Cars. Like we're gonna go to the town that Cars is based on,
Right.
and we drove in, and we didn't even get out of the car because we were like, okay, everything's boarded up, and we're leaving. So on the way back, we were like, you know what? Let's drive through the mountains. We'll get a little different scenery.
Yes.
And so we just shot up, and we basically drove straight up through the mountains. Tom got stuck in a ditch because he was being a little overconfident. Just even goes to show that.
Sounds like fun.
Oh, it was fun, but he was like, I got it.
I don't got it.
And we both me and him were in the car, and we just went snow mode. But it was, it's just one of those things that even when we're just making a cross country road trip, we're like, where can we go off roading?
Right.
Where can
Well,
we
she
do
got
this?
really upset because we didn't stop for Kansas City steak. So
I
that's
was
something we
like,
have to
Do
do.
you see all this beautiful cattle, like the juicy burgers and the steaks? Like, I just want to have a hot meal. I just want one.
You want
One
the
hot
best
meal.
hot meal you will ever have going across the country, and I will stand by this till the day I die. The sun was coming up, and we were driving into Gore, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Didn't even know this place existed on a map, and we're just like, where is breakfast? So Tim just Googled diners near me, and it was
Nice.
like a 0.3 of a mile, and we roll up, and there's 2 old dudes sitting in here. Place is completely empty. 3 waitresses just waiting for the morning rush, and we walk in, didn't even speak. They just pointed to a table. We sat down. She walks up, coffee. At that point, we've been driving for 18 hours straight.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of giving us looks like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Sipping coffee, and as soon as food comes, like we're scarfing food down, and all of a sudden we just look at it like, these are the greatest pancakes ever. And they're like, it's just Bisquick. I don't care what it is. This is amazing.
It's hot.
The best food ever.
Yeah, because
it's hot.
all we've done is eat McDonald's and snacks and just bullshit
we
overnight.
didn't even do that. I mean, it
No,
was
because
like
I'm like
it
a
was
health
beef
nut. Like I
sticks
really,
and
I am.
and
I don't
it's a good
drink.
thing we
I don't
made
have processed
road
foods,
Sammies.
generally speaking. So we,
Yeah,
I'm
she's
a
like, I'm just
snacker.
gonna eat my little nuts, and I'm like. I
Hey,
need protein.
Chris has big nuts.
I need protein. Okay.
For everyone who can't see it, Chris just made the greatest face off camera. Like, I can't believe you just said that on
I think
record.
he's turning. He's blushing a little bit too.
yeah.
I
A little
don't know.
bit? That man is cherry red right now.
Yeah, he
You
is.
can't tell I'm blushing too. I just have dark skin.
Oh my gosh. So, back to the hot meal. But yes,
Wait,
next
what
time,
hot meal? What are you talking
next
She
time,
wanted a steak.
I just wanted a steak. So I told her next time you guys are going on your own, we're gonna go.
She's gonna do
we're
all
gonna
the stops
slow
in
roll it.
between.
I wanna go. I wanna buy that new pair of cowboy boots. I'm gonna eat that big steak.
yes.
And him and I are just gonna be like,
That's how we are. I mean, when we went out to Moab for our trip, it was just like our one buddy was like, I don't know if I can do it. And we're like, you'll be in the
You'll
middle
be
of the
fine.
pack. You're gonna do it. And
Yeah.
you're like,
You don't have
"But
a
what if-"
choice.
Yeah, and he goes, but what if I have to stop? I'm sorry. What did you just say? Yeah, no, that's
For
not
gas?
a thing.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna stop
Yeah.
for gas.
That's the
buddy,
only
and, like, to
thing.
go to the bathroom.
Right,
Like, what are you
right.
talking about? He's like, no, like for the night.
my sister, she's like, so what's the plan? I'm like, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Like that's. And
It's
then
called
she's
36
like,
hours straight.
I
That's the
know.
plan.
No, don't even
Wing
get
it.
me started on
Yeah,
that.
it was like on our way back. We were all, when you go
The way
out
back's a
first,
little
you're-
different.
Exactly.
You're
yeah.
like,
when you're
oh,
going out, we're
we
like
were
awesome.
totally hyped. We were
Yeah.
totally hyped.
Yeah,
we were
yeah, 'cause you wanna get
caravanning.
there.
Yeah,
So
we're
fun.
caravanning. We're like driving
And the
side by
adrenaline
side,
helps.
speeding,
Beautiful.
taking
Yeah.
pictures
The
and
adrenaline
videos.
helps a lot.
Let me
Yes.
tell you, coming back, everyone was grumpy. We were like, "Don't talk to me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to look at you.
Are you guys
I'm
ready to
so-
stop?
I'm
I
done.
was ready to stop 5 miles ago. Thank you.
I'm done. I want to leave your ass behind
yeah.
and just go on my own."
Well,
But then-
those sometimes too. You have to like.
And then you take a nap and you're like, man, I guess I was just tired.
Well, no, I was like hallucinating at
Oh.
that point when we took that little like
Well,
2-hour nap, and I'm like, "What?
If
What's
the-
going on?"
if
Like
the
I had
little
all
red
these
lights-
crazy dreams.
Oh yeah, if the little red lights on top of the windmills in the middle of Kansas
Yeah,
at
that
2
was-
in the morning aren't calling to you like sirens on the ocean,
Especially when
but
you're
you
sleep
know-
deprived.
tired enough.
Yeah.
You know how you were talking earlier about Jeeps being reliably unreliable?
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah,
this
you
was-
wouldn't know anything
now
about
this
that.
Was,
Yeah.
This was
we
a little
were
crazy.
literally. This is a crazy story.
I don't
but
know if you saw our. Well, we tried to do a live reel.
that was
I don't-
ridiculous, and that was so dumb.
That's
we
twice
didn't
we've
even
driven
know.
across the country trying to do something like that, and about 2 hours in, we realized that shit ain't happening.
that was
Hold
not.
on. Air CarPlay or whatever CarPlay.
Yeah.
Apple CarPlay
Something
on
like
there.
that. I'm not an Apple person, so.
Apparently, if you're doing a video and your phone is still connected to your Apple CarPlay, you're not going to be heard. So you just have like the two girls in snow because it was just sunny, and then it was a blizzard, and we're like, hey, being all like cute. No, that was not funny. It wasn't cute. You didn't hear a damn thing, and people were like typing like, we don't hear anything.
We can't hear anything.
All I hear is a dinging.
Turn your volume up.
And like, why are you guys jumping around?
And look, and I'm just looking at there's like a red flag sticking out of the ground. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, we gotta really be careful because I don't know what is in that ground.
Like,
and
is that electrical?
We're here.
Is that,
We're near Dillon, Colorado,
Yeah.
and suddenly a blizzard hits. Like the snow starts
As they
picking
do.
up.
It was
nuts.
Yeah, you just never know what the mountain is going to bring, and it was crazy. It's a good thing.
But the reason why we
it's
were
a good
pulled
thing that
off-
we planned.
Why
Yeah.
were we pulled off?
And my husband, the amazing navigator he is, he found a place for us to stay, and he knows the Colorado very well, so he knows the Vail Pass.
But
and
Candace,
he timed,
why did we have to stop?
Well, okay, let's go back to. I'm trying not to put Chris on the spot right there.
No,
Yeah,
it
Chris,
was.
why did we have to stop?
Y'all jeepers.
Can you just come over here real quick?
Come
My
on,
love.
come on. Oh, fine. I guess.
You can walk a little faster.
Nah.
He's gonna amble
He's
over
wearing
here.
a really cool shirt, though. I'll give him
Yeah,
that.
he is.
Why did we stop? Because Jeeps are incredible off-road and
Yes.
on-road.
Not so much.
They get really warm. They don't like hills.
That steep grade.
One of us.
They
One of
abandon,
us. One of us.
they abandon you with your 5-year-old at the top of the Rockies while
Yes.
it's snowing.
After the tunnel, I would literally worried about their lives and getting hit because 18-wheelers were just
Yeah.
flying by.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people
They
like
had
to
no
go
fear.
fast in,
Yeah,
in those
that-
It was a
tunnels.
good time.
It was a good time.
But Moab, it's a good time.
I was going to say.
Okay, so wait a minute, babe. No, you have to stay for one more thing. Is that okay, guys?
Yeah, yeah,
Do I
we'll-
have permission?
yeah, yeah, we'll
We're gonna
probably-
be closing up
yeah,
soon,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so there was some social media that happened because
yeah, this was
Mike
funny.
Reed and the whole crew there, they were so kind and so generous that out of the 112 Grenadiers, they allowed for my husband, just because, they had taken care of us girls all the way across the country. And he was like, oh, it'll be you and me in our Jeeps. And then my husband was like, what are you talking about? Because this is before we left. And he was like, yeah, I'll have my Gladiator and you'll bring your Jeep. And so Chris was like, oh man, I actually get to be with you. He thought he would just be off on his own doing all the trails by himself and not part of the crew because he didn't have a Grenadier,
Yeah.
obviously. No, ugly redheaded stepchild that we called him, he got to be a part of it. But on social media, there were pictures and videos, and everybody was like, dude,
Who let the jeeper in?
what is
who
that?
Who let,
What is going on? Like, what's that tiny little car in between?
Crash the party.
So, but then tell them what you did.
What did I do?
He doesn't even know what he did.
I don't know what
See,
I
that's
did.
a husband right there.
He's
What did I
so
do?
modest. He's so look
What'd I
at
do?
that. He's,
His Jeep did some awesome stuff. Yes.
We're repping the Grenadiers here, so I wasn't going to go there.
Yeah,
No,
but
don't
I
wanna
was-
come on.
Steel Bender.
So humble.
You did.
But it's
Hell's
Moab. That's the thing. Like,
Revenge.
regardless
Sure.
of what you're in, it's Moab. So if something
Yeah.
cool happens, something cool happens.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
He did some really cool
He
stuff.
did.
awesome.
He
Yeah.
did.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And he even let my 17-year-old son drive on Hell's Revenge on the cliffside.
See, that's
with
ballsy.
my son, who's 4 years old and apparently really trustworthy, clipped into the front seat.
Oh, I heard he was taking naps. It's
Like
all
I said,
good.
that
all you can
4-year-old's
ask
about
for.
as mature as he's ever gonna get. So that trust, that
It's
like,
all good.
Yeah, man, you got it. Don't worry
good.
about it.
You got to
It's good.
teach him early.
Yeah.
You got to teach him early.
That's right. But that goes to show, and I'm going to segue, and I'm just going to plug this one more time because it's really important. Women's Ineos Grenadier Club doesn't mean that we're not going to open arms, of course, to any woman who wants to off-road.
Yeah.
Thank you, love. It's so important that despite whatever car you have the spirit of adventure.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the things that, for example, my tagline with the club, that yes, I came up with, so I feel really protective over it. But, they say that this car is built for more. Mm-hmm. This car, in my opinion, after having a lot of other 4x4s, this is built for women. This car is literally built for women because it makes you feel really capable, and you feel secure in it, and it's a tank.
Yeah.
And you feel safe in it. So I think it's such a great car. But any woman who wants to go on an adventure, hit me up. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's have fun. Let's have the ability to just talk to each other and find places that we can go. Because normally that is generated and is instigated by husbands or men, and sometimes like we have to learn from other people in order to do the cool things, right? To get connected. And I'm not a copycatter. I'm not going to sit there and copycat anyone, but don't reinvent the wheel. I mean, utilize the tools that you have in front of you, create a network, and then let's go out together and adventure. That's what this club really is about. I mean, it's powered by our connections.
And we don't have to go balls to the walls. We can take baby steps too. And we can slowly build and work in, build that confidence and safety.
But that's,
I think
the beauty
that's
of it.
like the key is that, it's all about safety too. Having a great time, but, being safe. So
that's all it is having fun. Like, we could sit here and debate all day long about which car does better off-road, which is the better hybrid, lifestyle vehicle, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, for us, if you're willing to just go out in the woods and romp around and have a good time, I could care less how far you want to take your vehicle. Like, we just want to have a good time. Like, that's why we've never made like an official club, because we don't want to deal with all the rules and bylaws and all that crap. It's just just come out. Like, we're going to post, hey, we're going to the Cove at 9 a.m. on Saturday.
Exactly.
Like, whoever wants to come, meet us in the Walmart parking lot at 8:30. Like, I don't care if it's a Toyota, a Bronco. I don't give a shit. Like, just come out. Let's have a good, have a good time.
Exactly.
Because that's all we're here to do.
Right.
Like,
And
we
right
have
now,
these brief
even
periods
this-
in our lives where we can have a good time and have fun, and we can worry about work and life and the rest of that the rest of the time.
It's a reprieve, yes.
But
yes.
let's just have these moments where all we're doing is just out here to have a good old time. And who cares what you're driving?
That's right.
Like, who cares who you are, what background you come from? If you're ready to put pinstripes on your
got
vehicle,
something in common there. That's right.
Like, as long as you're willing to tear it up in the woods, we're gonna
hug
have a
it
good
up,
time.
man. Hug it up.
Yeah.
But that in the club, for example, we've talked a lot about the structure and how are we going to do this? Are we going to do an LLC? Are we going to do nonprofit? Right now, you see the club between her and I, but more importantly, we're funding it. So this is something that we love. You talked about passionate people.
Yeah, it's a passion project.
Like, my extra money goes towards my club. Right now, like those hats, for example, we are embroidering.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
we're getting them taken care of. But shirts that we're wearing, everything that we're doing is all grassroots efforts. And I don't even know if I want to deal with bylaws or structure or any of that stuff. But what I do, what I do know is that any woman for this particular club who wants to go on an adventure, you have a Grenadier, like, let's go.
Yeah.
East Coast, West Coast, upside down, go to the sand dunes of Dubai. Like, we have women that we know in Africa who are doing crazy awesome things with their Grenadiers. I mean, I want to fly over there. I want to rent a Grenadier. Or, shipping, it costs a lot of money.
About $5 grand. Hang out with Hyam.
I know, I want to go do that.
That is true. Yeah, one of our customers moved to Dubai because she's got family over there.
Okay.
So we had built her Jeep, done all this stuff, so she came in. She used to be the president of Nova Jeepers.
Oh, wow.
And so she sold it here to one of the other members of the group, went over there, like, already had her build planned out, had already talked to his shop, like, had it down. That shop ended up emailing us at one point, like, hey, she's asking about this, and we're like, yep, you're going to do X, Y, and Z. Like, this is what we did on her other vehicle. So it was really cool, because you don't always think about the worldwide reach
it's
of
global.
this.
This car is global.
Right?
This car has a German engine. Okay, it's designed in the UK and it's built in France.
Yep.
I mean, you can't get more melting pot than that. You can't get. I mean, we're half Korean, half Caucasian. We are walking equity. We are walking multicultural sensations.
Well, not only
okay?
that,
I'm calling us a sensation.
the other part of that's Cajun, which is already a mix of so many things.
That is spicy.
Yeah.
That is spicy in
Her
itself.
nickname is Spicy Combo.
I am number one. I am spicy combo number one. So yes, it sounds like
that's
a sushi or something,
That's awesome.
But yeah, and that's how, I think I don't know. I think that we should probably finish talking about a little bit more of the.
One thing we
have a lot
do
of
want
people
to say,
to call out too.
we have to just say thank you, because us going over
I was
to
going to say
Moab.
we can wrap up, but just call
Yeah.
out, like, let us know where to find you guys, like who
Right.
who
Yes.
helped you guys along the way. Like
Yeah.
that's really the
And I
important
didn't
stuff.
wanna-
And that's what I want to do.
anybody.
Yeah, I want to take time, talk a little bit about that, about their mission, how they've supported us, because
Yeah.
they believed in us. And I think, and these are not only the pioneers too, but they're the ones that they want to see more women
Successful.
Yeah.
successful, getting
Right.
into off-roading,
Right.
and supporting them. I mean,
Why don't you go ahead and call out some of them, and then I'll fill in.
well, I think, our big supporter too has been Rob. So Rob over at
Oh my gosh, you
Overland
guys
Gear
should
Guy.
see the inside of our cars with all of his
he
soft
reached
storage
out
stuff.
and
So cool.
asked us if we were interested
Yeah.
in being brand ambassadors. And for me, so I actually bought Rob's stuff last year. He was having a cyber sale.
Yeah.
So I bought a few pieces of his storage, gear.
Overland Gear Guy, guys.
And it was just, it was so amazing. And when he reached out to me over social media, I was like having a
Yeah.
fangirl moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, Overland Gear Guy is reaching out to me.
Yes.
And then she's like, guess who reached out to me? I'm like, what? This is like, double the time.
Super
like, this,
cool.
this
It's
is
such a
so-
wild
it's
feeling when
amazing.
you're like, who am I?
Yeah.
Like, who am I that you're
Yeah.
reaching
It's
out to?
imposter
Right
syndrome.
now?
I know.
We
Yeah.
just like our cars. We just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And then, holy moly.
He hooked us up with so many amazing things, and he's just genuinely
He's a beautiful
the most,
soul.
Everything
Yeah.
is well made in the USA.
Yeah.
He doesn't mess around. He's so
Right.
passionate about it. He's a beautiful photographer,
He's a
professional
good
photographer,
person.
and just genuinely good. So
Yeah, yeah.
I just really, I don't know.
love
We
Rob.
talk with him every day. Like
No, that's
we're
awesome.
messaging with him and thinking
Yeah.
of new ideas, testing out new
We
things.
got to help with the dash organizers.
Yeah, the Molly
Yes.
Dash
There you
organizer.
go.
And
And
then
give
if you
them
see, I've
feedback.
got my Starlink is hanging on my Safari
yes, I saw
window.
that
Yeah.
Did
the
you
window
see
video.
that?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
That's
gosh!
pretty cool.
And let me tell you, it hasn't affected the reception. She's going to take it to Artemis with her.
It's kind of perfect
And
that it pitches upwards, though.
It
Yes.
is.
Perfect.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
I was doing emails because when we were coming back, work was starting to really pick up.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I was doing emails. I was on Teams. I was doing all the stuff. I did not going through the mountains and all the
awesome.
remote
And
areas.
that's the only
Nope.
way
That's
that we've
Didn't
had
lose any
storage for
reception.
kids in this car too.
Yeah.
Because kids got all sorts of junk.
Yep.
And
I
you
got a
have to have a
2-year-old,
place to
so
put.
yes, I'm
Yeah,
very
for sure.
aware.
You are
So
aware.
they have these. He has awesome kitty caddies. He has places to store stuff in every nook and cranny that's already been thought out.
Yeah, yeah.
And he has a Grenadier. So the point is if you don't have this car, how can you make things for it? He has it. He's experienced
knows.
it. He
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
what it needs.
measure.
You know?
He can measure it out. He knows the dimensions.
He's got a template in not even a day.
There's a big difference in R&D just having a scan of a car
Right.
and physically having it in front of you,
Yeah.
because you can read measurements on a piece of paper all day long, and we've seen it with new body style vehicles, all that, where you
Yes.
you get a product and you go, that doesn't fit. It's 2 inches too short, it's too big, whatever. And people are like, what do you mean? It's like, clearly whoever
You
made
shouldn't
this
have to modify
didn't
the vehicle
physically-
to fit the
Yeah.
thing that's supposed to
Like-
just fit the vehicle.
Yeah, if you're telling me it's vehicle
Accessory.
specific, I should be able to pull a couple bolts out,
Yes.
mount it,
Right.
bolt it back, and be done.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And it should
That's
be
it.
simple, and it
Yeah.
should be easy, and it should have directions to
Yep.
make sure, especially we've been installing a lot of our own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things that are coming out for the Ineos, Grenadier, and Quartermasters, they're good. Some of them are not as user friendly because this car is newer.
Sure.
So they don't always have, I might have to improvise on this element,
Yeah.
or I might have to rig something up, or
yeah, we had to do that a few times.
it just happens with
Well,
a new
that's
car.
R&D, right? Like you
exactly.
you realize
and then
hey,
you call them and you say, hey,
Yep.
this happened. Because what do you want? You want for that company to get refined.
especially if it's a good product. Like if you can see
Exactly.
the functionality of the product and you go,
Yeah.
hey, this is good. Just
Right.
maybe it needs to be a little bigger. Maybe it needs to be a little
well,
smaller.
I mean, and what my next project is I have the complete skid plates from Agile
Yep.
Off-Road. Love them, and but for someone who is changing their oil for the first time, it wasn't so functional
Yep.
because I'm like, oh, I got to take my skid plate off
Right.
so I can
Yeah.
access.
Well, it's a good time to clean all the debris out. It's so that you don't catch on fire.
But at
Also
the same
Good point.
time, yeah, but I didn't have a lot of debris. I mean, where we were, it's one thing if I was here. If I was on
Yeah.
the trails
Oh, yeah.
here
Yeah,
in this
here's
area, all the
totally
forest
leaves
trees.
most of the
and pine
Moab
needles.
stuff
Totally.
just blows
Yeah.
away on the way home.
Exactly.
I don't know about
Totally
that.
Except
I'm
what's
like
inside.
a layer. It was
Different.
inside because I had my Safari windows out the whole time. I'm like, and then everything's covered in dust.
we took the shop Jeep to 24 hours and we were still finding Moab.
Dirt.
And it's been a year.
Moab. Oh, yeah.
It's been a year
Oh,
since we've been in
man.
Moab, and we were cleaning stuff. I went, Yep, that's Moab dust.
Yes.
All right, there we go.
And then also like a lot of the stuff that we were sponsored, but this is so cool. DVA Mechanics is a woman-owned business.
Okay.
And their crew there have from the beginning supported us with a lot of accessories and gear. I mean, from top to bottom. And then even for Artemis Rally now, they even beefed up their rails on the top, the roof rails. And so I'll be using those a lot when I have the canoe on top of the car. They're not just like a regular company with accessories. They're really good about communicating, and they, I think they're going to Japan right now. They're expanding, and just the fact that they helped us, yes, that's great. But they want us to be there and to promote their products. Yeah. But they do it through a spirit of like, we're women. You know, we're having fun. Hey, try this out. Tell me how it works for you. Yeah. So like a lot of companies will be like, oh, you know, show off my stuff. But they don't say to, like DVA said, give us feedback. Let us know how it goes. And if there's a problem, we're going to send something right out. Like, no joke, I didn't have long enough bolts for one portion. They're like, oh no, they sent the wrong ones. They overnighted them to me, like so that I could have it the next day when I was leaving. You know, things like that really, really matter, which is why some businesses are just absolutely successful because they have great reputations and they really care about their
service.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to. If someone's buying your product, like they're spending their hard-earned cash on something. One, they're going to want it to work. But if something's wrong, just shit happens.
Just fix it.
We're all human. Just fix it.
Just take care of it.
We deal with it all the time at the shop where we call people and just go, hey man, this was missing. Are you sure? Dude, like I've dealt with your product 17 times in the last week.
Right.
Yes, I'm sure that this is not in the box. I've just installed this 8 times today.
Yes.
Like what are you talking about?
It doesn't work like that.
And it's so
could you send me 57 pictures at this angle to make sure that this was properly done?
And the whole point of what we do is, you know, dealing with the wholesale side of things is the benefit to us is because we're buying it all the time, there's usually this like, hey, no questions asked, like, hey, we trust you guys that you're giving us the proper information, that you know it's installed properly, whatever it is. And that's the benefit of going through a shop versus doing it yourself, because a lot of retail customers, they're going to go, well, did you install it the right way? Okay, send it back and we'll take a look at, or you got to buy another one and we'll send it and then we'll refund. It's just too much.
It is.
And some of these companies are just realizing like, oh, it's a bolt, here you go. Oh, you're missing a pole for your awning, here you like just because they're just like, just make it right,
but don't make it a hassle either. And don't make it take so long. You know, like I know that we live in a very impatient society where everything is like instant gratification. I know, it's really sad.
It's given us this false sense of reality.
But we need
anything can get to us in 2 days.
But we need those things so we can go do that thing which takes us off grid and lets us like totally bow out and decompress from like all of that stuff. But you know them, and then I would Buzz Overland, by the way.
Yes.
Buzz Overland sent us their door hinge steps, and I'm not joking. I used that one accessory. Oh my god, they're so
gosh, that's another piece of my armor
sexy.
Right there.
They're
and
so cool.
They're so easy to put on too. And I will tell you that even in Moab, we were out finally getting some like
other
a
people
hot
had
meal.
other steps that
they
weren't
would
as
walk
great.
by, and I swear they were not looking at the Grenadier because there were tons of Grenadiers all over the place. Like,
no,
I mean,
they were
come
looking
on.
at the
They
step,
were
the
they were
little step on the
looking
side.
at the step, and I just I haven't had a chance. Like I've been on it, I've used it, you know,
It's
and
beefy.
I'm slowly. You kind of pace yourself, you know. You're like, okay, well, this day I'm going to do that, and this day I'm going to do that. But let me tell you, that is probably one of my favorite pieces here because it's so simple. It's like it's
amazing
just
what a
simple
little quality of life
concept.
item will do.
So and when you're 5'2", when you're 5'2", all of this, you need something to get up there because. Look.
Yeah, we don't really have that problem here at the shop for the most part.
Shorty's got to do stuff too.
Yeah, that is true. All of our wives
I
are
need
short.
to put one there, and I need to put one on. You know,
I know,
need to like
all the way down the line.
I need steps all the way.
Yep.
Although Brian would probably appreciate
But Buzz
that.
Overland also has like really amazing outfitting for the inside of the rig. They have storage drawers. They have like a bunch of gear that you can install. But their quality that I've noticed in comparison to some other people, like for example, I do want to get those Bison hard molly on the the inside to create more storage. But
there's always something.
I know. The Buzz Overland seems to me, like just by touch and feel, to be one of the best qualities. Like, rough, tough, ready for the long haul.
Yeah.
Hasn't changed color. Hasn't really, like, the way that they did things, even with the beveled the little nuts that they put in there and how they did it so that it doesn't really mess up your paint. They really thought each component out well enough that I'm just like, this is one of my favorites. It's so functional and I use it a lot.
Yep.
And when you're using something often, it'll either work or it won't. Right? So that's one thing.
Yeah, but let me tell you, I don't think anybody who parks near me wants to hit their door against my Buzz Overland door hinges, especially if I have it out. Because if you saw that metal claw there too, it's very nice. Sometimes I just throw it out on purpose when I know that there's going to be a lot of, great people parking next to me.
Don't forget Adventure X Fest is coming up too. So even though we do off-roading and then of course there's overlanding and all this other stuff, I think it's becoming more popular for families to come out. I mean, I know like the Jeep community has tons of family events, but Mountain State Overland is actually hosting the Adventure X Fest. And that's where, you're just like on acres of land. People are camping out. There's great music. There's food. And you just kind of sit around a campfire and then run trails. And it's really awesome. It's not super expensive for one car. And they have a limit.
That's really the biggest thing, because a lot of places will charge per person, even if you're all in the same vehicle, which is where the family aspect of it sometimes gets hard for people, because it's like you're talking,
especially when you got 5 kids, man.
Me, my wife, 2 kids, whoever you got in the car, and it's like all of a sudden you're charging $40 a person, and just to go,
it's like $500.
You're talking $160 plus you got to pay to camp, and then you got to gas and food. Before you realize it, a 2-day off-roading weekend is costing a family $600, and you're like, no wonder people just go out and like only go by themselves to these events, because it's like, for me to go,
you want to bring your motor home,
and we're good.
You want to bring your motor home, you want to bring your Jeep, you want to bring your Grenadier,
you want to hook up to electricity and water,
your dirt bike, you want to bring the go-kart, you want to bring everything and just rip.
All of a sudden it's $1,000 weekend before you realize it, and you're like, how am I paying for this again?
Exactly.
My credit card's not gonna like me.
Like I said, beans good protein. But anyways, thank you guys so much. And also, you've done a lot, like Candy.
Yes.
They did your wolf box.
Yes, they did my wolf box installation.
Right.
So, and I've told everyone, I'm like, hey, just go. But you guys seriously are my go-to.
Too,
if I need to do any modifications, I mean, you guys are down the road from me.
We try.
And the fact that when you guys did mine, I think I was a number 2 Grenadier that you guys, number 2 or number 3.
Yeah.
But now
so
you guys are like old hats
pretty
at it.
special. I mean, now I'm like seeing Grenadiers parked. I'm like, come on,
that
man.
was a bummer to come in to notice that a Grenadier had more damage on it than my car. I was like,
you want that damage?
No.
Well, only if I can fix it.
That was a lot of
cost-wise. Only if I can fix it. Yes, I will put damage on the car if I can fix it.
Yeah, that was quite.
I have to find another job, not a teacher.
Between that and the Bronco Raptor, which was also running with him, like all the repairs that happened to that, they learned very quickly how like
cha-ching.
Oh yeah. And it's not that, and they knew going into it, and it was one of those like, we'll fix the stuff that breaks,
right.
And then all of a sudden, an alignment turns into $1,000 fix because you broke something that's never been broken before, and you're like,
and then they can't get it in for a while too, because sometimes these parts take a while to get into the dealership.
Like the stuff that we ordered for that one directly from the dealership, I mean, it's 3 to 5 days because they got to ship it in, because they're like, what do you mean you need a differential cover? Like, don't ask. Like, I need another cover and a gasket and the rear brakes and the TPMS sensor.
Well, look,
and all this stuff.
Just
and they're
say
like,
thank you to Adrian, because he's breaking you guys in for sure. Like I said, when I come here, I'm be like, hey guys, can you help me out? Can you fix this? Can you do that?
He's always willing to be a test dummy, thankfully. Like he's always one of those guys that's like, ooh, a new vehicle? Let me see what I can do to that. And it's like, oh boy. So it comes in here and we're like, leave it for a week. and,
There you go.
and we'll see what happens, kind of thing.
Sweet.
So
Yeah, no, it was great. It was a great thing. It's just the Wolf box is working awesome.
That's great.
And I still probably
That
need to
wigs me
read
out.
the
It's like a
manual. It does.
TV.
Like when I was
Yeah.
backing in here with you earlier,
wild.
I'm just like, don't look at the Wolf box.
yeah,
Don't
it's
look at
very
the Wolf
weird.
box because it is just it's still like the perception.
it's something you have to train
is-
yourself on for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you get used to it.
Yeah,
but
you
it's
do,
also
but-
one of those things where like those are those items where sometimes people get a little too reliant on
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
and then you back into something because
Yeah.
you're like
Right.
watching your screen. It's the
Yeah,
same thing.
you
that
gotta
happened
know
with
the
backup
parameters of your
cameras,
car.
right?
Yep.
No.
They
Yeah.
started teaching all the new young drivers, oh, just use your backup camera to
Nope.
say, no,
don't do
you
that.
still
Backup
Don't do
camera
that.
is just for distance.
Right.
That's it.
That's why I
Right.
still think that all children, well, I call them children because I'm older now, but they all have to learn how to drive a stick.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't drive a manual car, and I mean, even in my adulthood, I had to get used to it again
Well, 'cause
because
now
I had an automatic for so long.
Well, and so many of them now there's certain things that are computer controlled, and it's
Right.
not really
You
a
can't-
manual,
no.
but
I mean, we have
it is.
this
Yeah, well, that's
car.
like
we just
the,
pop it, shift it,
the
and like
Tektronix or
Yeah.
because
Well, that's
I
why
used to
people
have
don't like to wheel
BMWs.
with the Jeep manuals on the trails because the JKs fully manual.
Yeah.
These they will limit how high
they
up
won't
you
let
rev.
you do
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And it's
Exactly.
like we literally had a guy that we took out, and he went, next week I'm gonna go trade this in for an automatic JL, and I'm gonna go get a manual JK because he's sitting there in first gear.
and it wouldn't disengage to do what he wanted
well,
to do.
no, it basically
stopped him?
limited him.
Yeah, it
he
stopped
was
It's like an
revving up
automatic clutch, and it's
Yeah,
really
it's,
weird.
it's just weird, and
Okay.
it's just one of those things where
Like you
go,
just let the pedal out, and then it does its thing.
just does its own thing.
It's not manual.
great for the daily consumer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes it a little easier, a little more approachable.
Right. But they're also probably
for
not
what
doing
that
those kinds
vehicle
of trails either.
No,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
for what that vehicle was built for, you just took out
the whole component that you need.
Yep.
Right.
So what are you gonna do? But let everyone know where they can find you guys.
Okay, sure. So, Grenadier Field Girl on Instagram, Grenadier Trial Girl on Instagram because she has the Field Master. I have the Trial Master. And then in addition to that, if you simply go to women's IneosGrenadierClub.com. You'll see our mission. You'll see our calendar where we're going to be present at. It gives background on kind of essentially what our services are, which are like hanging out, doing cool things, and getting together. And then in addition to that, if you guys please check out the Grenadier Gathering over in Moab for next year. I think it's so important that people have an experience.
Yes.
Like we did, just to be like, hey, you want to come? I'm in Virginia, bro. Let's go. Okay, let's go. And just go wild, have fun. Fill your life with moments and times where you actually don't know what to expect. And then you're excited by it. You have an incredible time. You connect with people. Take some risks and have fun.
And you've got great stories after that.
Yeah.
Oh man, we have stories that we have to talk about later off camera.
Yeah,
I was going to say, especially with all the events you guys have, I'm sure we'll do follow-ups after all that too.
It's going to
'cause
be
It'll be great.
a lot of fun.
You guys are gonna have a
now
banger of a second year.
Dirt Nerds is going to be our home for making sure that our cars are ready. So
Yeah.
See about
So
it.
shout out to Dirt Nerds. Thank you.
He's like,
tell
break
Tom
your
I
car.
said hello. I mean,
that
seriously, you guys have
Where
been
you at,
awesome,
Tom?
and I truly
Come on,
appreciate.
man.
I just love how
He claims because his parents are in
knowledgeable.
town, he can't. It's like whatever.
well,
dude.
I thought it was because of the baby. I was like, I'll hold a baby. I mean, I'll take care of the baby anytime.
No. Our kids will just run around and do whatever. They don't
Yeah,
care.
I love that stuff.
No, but seriously, thank you so much for your
Yeah,
support.
thank you,
like
bro.
supporting us, supporting
I think
the
he's the more
women's
quiet guy
and
today.
Ineos Grenadier. Well, yeah, I think we've both been a little quiet. We're just.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
all
gonna.
right.
I'm just gonna let them. Who's here in the podcast?
You
All right,
normally
there
you
you go.
normally don't even know PJ's here because he's doing so many different voices. People are just like, "How many people did you have on that episode?" Just one. His name's PJ.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Does PJ have a comedic voice that can go into any kind of character?
His whole
Sometimes.
family has a thing where they just do voices.
So it's kind of like the acapella when you kind of hear like the different.
It's really good at imitations.
yeah, it's
Okay.
got, like accents and stuff like that. Like give his mama
This
a couple
too we
glasses
must
of wine.
what's your
and you'll-
best? What's your best accent, or what's your most popular accent?
Do you know SpongeBob?
Yes,
gosh.
of course we know SpongeBob.
Oh gosh,
That's
it's
Or
the
great.
reason
Patrick.
why children are like,
I do Patrick really well.
oh gosh.
My name is Patrick, so it kind of fits.
Okay.
No, this is Patrick.
We get that a lot. Is this Dirt Nerds? And you'll hear from the back.
No, this is Patrick. Does anybody
great.
have a can opener?
And PJ, I love your stickers. So I'm so
Yes, thank you.
excited. I can't wait to represent. And so that's A10 Media.
Yep.
Yep.
So
That's
can
his
you
Jeep.
can you tell us? Oh, this is your Jeep.
So
I'd love to.
my
I always
Jeep-
love learning about the stories behind.
The Jeep guy will attest to this with me. My Jeep is a 2004 LJ.
Okay.
I've had it since I was in high school. It's my first car.
Sweet.
I still have it. I drive it whenever I can. And I'm turning
When
it
it's
into
not
my
broken.
media rig.
Really?
Love
That's
that.
awesome.
I dubbed it the Warthog
Okay,
years and years ago.
okay.
So A10 Warthog, A10 Media.
That's
nice.
awesome.
I love that. Well, thank you for
we
sharing
had such
that
a great
story.
media guy in Moab. His name
Yeah.
is Cena. You know, this guy, I think he had like one of those LX, the Lexus Land Cruiser. You know
Oh,
that
yeah.
the bigger. Anyways, and he had his 2 dogs, and he had all of his
Oh,
media.
adorable.
And he was just ripping it, and he had so much. He was gentle soul. Love that guy. He's super cool. And he did all the media out there. We even had a helicopter following us out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how connected
Well,
these people
I
are.
think
Seriously
they were
going to
they
the
were
wrong event.
yes.
Wrong.
They were following the
Everything,
main event,
apparently.
but
Yeah.
they came and then they saw us, and here we are,
They got
like
really
the
low and
women's
we're
expedition.
photographing.
Yeah,
That's
I'm still
awesome.
waiting for like the photography.
It's coming
or
out
the-
right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
That's awesome.
Slowly,
Yeah.
it's rolling. You know, it takes a couple weeks for that stuff
You gotta
to
have-
come
you
out.
gotta go through.
When you guys get that, tag us in it, and we'll share the crap out of that. 'cause
Absolutely.
that's cool stuff.
It is.
Oh,
cool
it was
stuff.
amazing. It was it was just such a well thought out event,
Yeah.
and when you have that
It
many
sounds like
people,
it.
I mean, talk about like I'm just like. And, I'm logistics. I'm a logistics and operations person.
Yeah.
So when you start to think about and you start to peel back
What
the
went
layers of
into
like
it.
everything that they had
Yes.
to do,
And then to get permission to
man.
be out there, he said, Mike Reed told us that it was like the
A week.
before
A week
that
before.
they gave him permission. Even though he had been working, he said at least like, 3,000 to 5,000
Yeah.
hours of just paperwork.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And getting all the regulations, making
all
sure
the
that everything
permits.
is, the permits
You
are
know, you have to get all
done.
the
that goes
permits.
into
He's
it that
like
people don't,
just
don't
tons and
underestimate.
tons of background. I mean, environmental stuff,
Oh yeah,
making sure.
yeah. When you have big events like that, people
Right.
never want to factor in the environmental stuff, that especially
Yeah,
on
impact.
the public land,
When
because
he said it
it's
there,
a big thing.
we
Yeah.
were all in the arena, and he was like, "Look, if you guys don't follow these directions, we can't do this
Yeah,
anymore."
we're done.
He was like, "It's
They'll
very
lose the
simple.
permits. Yeah.
So please don't ruin it for everyone."
Yep. Yep.
And I mean, everybody was really
Don't
respectful.
be a dick.
Yes.
Don't be a dick.
Like that's our,
right.
That's
Don't
our
be a dick.
catchphrase. Yeah, it just is what it is.
I like your
But-
bracelet.
But thank you guys so much for coming
Thank
out. I
you
know
so
we had to
much.
Thank you
reschedule
again.
and all that,
Nah,
but
it's good.
All good.
we appreciate you guys coming out. Like I said, you guys have a crazy second half of the year coming up, so
It's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
let us
Yeah.
know, because we're definitely going to need to do some follow-ups, because you guys have some
Absolutely.
crazy
we would
stuff
love
going
that.
on.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that'd be
We would
great.
love that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely. Well,
All right.
check us out, guys, on YouTube, social media, everything. Check these ladies out. They're awesome. Check their rigs out, and we will see you
Thank
guys
you.
next time.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Peace out,
Bye.
guys.